I am currently looking for the opinionated girl. How do I add her? Yo, what's good, gang? I'm trying to add the opinionated girl. Okay, found her.
Hello.
Yo, what is up? What is up?
Not much. I'm just double checking. You wanted to do this kind of how we discussed before, with the first hour being answering people's questions and establishing like any basic guidelines that we didn't tie up, and then doing the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
With
six. So right now we're doing obviously we'll let people do the Q&A with us. We're gonna chat a little bit, and then 7 o'clock is when you are gonna realize you were wrong with everything you just said.
my dude, you can't even form a coherent argument in your video, much less on the spot, but we'll see about it.
Okay, I
Um,
trust.
For the Q&A portion, did you want to bring people up to ask questions, or did you want to take them from the comments?
I guess we can start with the comments. So anyone can ask the questions in the comments, and then we can start bringing people up. We're just gonna make it more relaxed, get people to come up, and then we start allowing people in.
The only thing with asking from the comments is I can't see your comment section, you can't see mine, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's so we'll basically just like read the comments in our sections as we go. So if there's one comment that you see you want to talk about, you can bring that comment up, and then vice versa. And we would hope that that happens. But obviously, like we know that both lives are gonna have people that support you compared to mine. So we know it's gonna sway in my side regardless, but we already know what's gonna happen. So if you guys have any questions in the comments, we are going to allow people to come up soon, but we're gonna let more people come up. But if you have any questions in the comments about the debate, any questions that you want us to answer, we'll be able to answer it. Do you want me to answer some questions first, or do you want to answer some questions first?
Uh, so like, just so I'm clear, are we only answering questions about the debate itself, or like what? Because like I'm getting questions from like different topics.
You can answer those questions. It really depends on what you want to answer, to be honest. The whole point of this first hour is to get people, like more people to come up, and to get more people to get engaged into this. So I just feel like if more people see us engaging in maybe a little smack talk, because we both know I'm the best, but we do a little bit of that, and we can get into it if that makes sense. And if you want to, we can get to a little earlier, 6:30, but 7 o'clock is best in my opinion.
Okay, to answer a question then that I'm getting asked that's not relevant to this, I'm 16. How do I join Turning Point? I would say if there's not one that's local at your high school, start one. And if you need help with that, message me.
I would
Also,
want to answer that question too. Don't join Turning Point, because Turning Point is just an outright pipeline that just make people go crazy. So
go crazy like murdering somebody because you don't like the things that are coming out of their mouth. Is that the type of crazy we're talking about?
I mean, technically, the person that did it was practicing what Charlie Kirk preached. Wasn't he the one that said that he's okay with a few gun violence if everyone gets to keep their guns?
I
That's what he
mean,
said.
if you give up all your freedoms because you're afraid of people abusing it, then you're not deserving of those freedoms. And this is a principle that was literally the foundation of our founding fathers with the Constitution. We're not going to give up cars because somebody might weaponize their car and use it to ram into people, right?
Yeah, but we also have regulations for these things. You have to have a license to have a car. That's what we're saying in the left. We're not saying that, oh, we should take away all firearms. We're saying that there should be some regulations with firearms, mainly regulating of the building of firearms and the distribution of firearms, because that's how most firearm attacks happen. You need a firearm.
Sure, you need a firearm, but the majority of gun violence comes from people who don't legally own the weapon to begin with. There's a lot of black market deals, especially when you're looking at gang violence. Tyler Robinson, for example, had stolen his mother's weapon that he
That
used
was a
to
legal
unalive
firearm.
her. I'm sorry?
That was a legal firearm.
Yes, that his mother owned, not him. So again, there are already regulations in place. I think that it's absolutely ludicrous to think that by adding more laws, that's somehow going to prevent people
I
from murdering
I
people.
disagree. First of all, when we talk about weapons coming into the market, most weapons that go into states that have strong firearm laws are coming from states with weaker firearm laws. This is why we see places like Illinois having so many firearm crimes. It's because they're no, excuse me, not yeah, Illinois is having firearm crimes. It's because they're able to get these firearms from other states. This is why we also need to understand that most firearms that are not used against people, they're used against themselves. So are we saying that gun violence is not a problem when we're knowing that most of this is happening with people taking their own lives? It's
There's
not it's
plenty.
not people killing people that's causing most of the gun violence. Majority of gun violence is people committing self elimination, if that's the best way to say it here.
Sure, but there's plenty of ways that you could eliminate yourself if you want to. I don't believe that we need to be restricting people's constitutional
The
rights.
number
I'm
one
still,
use
hey, I'm talking. Thank you. I don't think that we need to limit people's constitutional rights on the basis of, well, somebody might end their own life. It's tragic and these people need help, but there's plenty of ways that somebody could do that without a firearm. So, no, we do not take away people's rights on the basis
that
of what others might do with
that
it.
doesn't make any sense because not only is the firearm the number one tool of taking people's life, it is also the number one tool of taking children's life. When it comes to firearm violence, when we talk about people taking their lives, firearm is the number one thing that they use. So when we talk about regulations is talking about how these guns are being created and being distributed. One problem that we're having is ghost firearms. People are able to 3D print these weapons and are able to use these things. So when we talk about the people are able to use this, how is it how is that possible? And one of the things that people go ahead.
No, you were speaking. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that people push is that mental health is one of the biggest reasons why firearm is the biggest problem. But we know that statistically, there was a study that did 40 of the top nations, and they looked at their mental health problems, and they seen that America is no different than the other 40 nations, but they seen that there's more gun violence in America than any of these 40 nations. In fact, America is the top most gun violent mass unaliving in America, if that makes sense.
Sure. Real quick announcement, guys. We do have a flash goal. So if 40 of you could send one heart me, it's just one coin each. I appreciate it. But to respond to what you're saying, you actually kind of helped to prove my point, right? Because what did you talk about? You talked about 3D printing weapons, which is not legal, and there are already regulations on these weapons. It's almost like
They are
making
legal.
laws. One second. Making laws doesn't matter to people who have no interest in following the law. If somebody wants to go out and do harm to people, you're going to see that happen. There's a
So
very
do
high,
I.
one second, there's a very high percentage of people, I believe the statistic is between 46 to 48% of weapon owners who actually stop shootings from happening against innocent people, right? There's a reason why you see the vast majority of mass shootings in gun-free zones because laws do not apply to criminals. They don't care.
Yes,
You're going to ignore.
most.
Wait a second, please. Tyler Robinson, for example, you are not allowed to carry a firearm onto a campus, and he decided to do it anyway after he took his mother's weapon anyway because he had the intent of going out and doing harm. It's why in the UK we're seeing an epidemic of stabbings taking place, right? They can't get firearms, sure, but they can hurt people in other ways. It's why in Sweden, this coupled with bringing in the third world, you're seeing an epidemic of women being SA'd with no way to actually actively protect themselves, which is why I always find it interesting when people who proclaim to be feminists try to sit there and advocate against the Second Amendment, right? Because that's the most feminist stance you could have. But I really don't understand your line of logic when you somehow go from, well, we need to have, one second, when we need to have stricter regulations against firearms because people will unalive themselves to, well, people can 3D print weapons, which is already not legal. Like you're not following a sound line of logic.
Okay, first, you're lying. Tyler Robinson is the individual that took the life of Charlie Kirk, right? That was in Utah. Utah has the worst firearm laws. In fact, you can carry a firearm in school. Also, I also want people to understand, and yes, you can look at that. Utah has the worst firearm laws. It's actually the most one of the most relaxed firearm laws in the country. So I don't know how you're telling me that Utah has some type of strict gun laws, because they
I
don't.
never said Utah has strict gun
You
laws.
said Tyler Robinson, and you mentioned, and that happened in Utah, one of the most
I said
lax
he was
states.
carrying on a campus, which he's not supposed to.
No, the campus allows you can carry a weapon on campus.
You're supposed to not be allowed to.
Oh, you're supposed to, right? So if there was regulations, it would help. But there were no regulations, which allowed Tyler Robinson to carry a firearm. We also have to understand that Tyler Robinson lived in Utah, which was a lax gun, and he lived in the firearm culture. He was born and raised with the firearm. He even said that he learned to use the firearm with his parents. Most mass shootings happen with legal firearms. If you did not know, most mass shootings does happen with legal firearms. We also have to understand, like I said before, most of these weapons that go into these states that's supposed to have strict gun laws are coming from states with lax gun laws. They go to other states and they come to these states and then do these things. And you're still not understanding that most of these violence that you're talking about isn't even going towards people. So when we're talking about murder rates are 5% of most violent crime. I'm not even talking about gun violence. I'm talking about violent crime in general. When we talk about gun violence in general, it is specifically coming from people taking their own lives. And the majority of people that take their own lives, you know which race does it? White people. So if we're talking about that, and yes, white
What the
people
hell
are
does race have to do with any of
okay,
this?
because what we need to understand is if we're saying that guns are not the problem, statistically, more white people own firearms than black people. There's more firearms than
Okay.
people in America. So if people are having more access to firearms easier than anything else, you can get a firearm easier than you can get an education in some places. So if you have access to these firearms, you're more obligated to use it. One last thing, statistics also shows that people with firearms are less likely to use their firearm when they're in defense, because they're rarely in a defense problem. And I think it's only 1% that actually use their firearm when they're in a defensive problem. So majority of people that even have firearms don't even use their firearm for protection.
So that makes no sense. First of all, I have no idea why you brought up race to that. That was completely irrelevant to literally any point. It really wasn't.
You talked about gangs and
One
shit.
second, dude, you just went on a whole ramble. 1 second. It was completely irrelevant. Also, this idea that you could get a firearm easier than education. I'm sorry, I don't see them handing out free firearms anywhere, but you can get a public education for free, quite literally anywhere. I really don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Adequate.
I did not interrupt you a single time. Anyway, you cannot bring a firearm onto Utah's campus, number one. Number two, this whole idea that had this university just said this is a gun-free zone, great. Do you know how many shootings take place in gun-free zones? It's actually quite a lot, because believe it or not, like I said before, criminals don't value the law, right? So I don't think Tyler Robinson would go, you know what? I really wanted to murder somebody today, but there's this sign saying I'm not allowed to do that. So damn it, guess I'm foiled again. It's completely ludicrous. This idea that criminals are just going to listen. I really have no idea where you're getting this statistic that only 1% of gun owners use their weapon in defense, because like I said before, 48% of mass unalivings are stopped by legal gun owners. And
There's rarely any mass on the line. Go ahead, my bad.
Anyways, this whole idea, right, that we should be taking away people's rights because people could use it to do harm, or you randomly throwing suicide into the mix as though there's not other ways to do that, it absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. Guys, real quick, we still have that flash goal going on, so make sure if you haven't already, you send one heart me. Do you want to start letting people up to like make it more relevant to the actual topic?
Yeah. Guys, if you wanna, I guess we didn't answer any of the questions down below, but it's going up. So guys, if you want to ask any questions, you can actually go to the guest box and we'll allow you up. You can ask 1 or 2 questions for us, and then we'll each answer it. If you want to allow anyone up, you can go first. I don't have anyone right now. Can we allow people up?
I think so. I'll be honest, I don't usually co-host, so I'm not too sure how it works.
Me neither. I don't think it's possible.
I think it is possible. I just saw like a way to do it, but then it went away. One second.
Oh, wait, no, I don't.
Multi-guest. I think I figured out how to do it. You gotta click multi-guest. I think I figured out how to do it. Okay. So we'll start with the badass. Welcome to the panel. Did you want to ask a question to me, to him, or to both?
I wanted to ask him, what was he saying about the gun violence and who does more of it?
I didn't say who. Okay, so I said that statistically most gun violence are going to be suicide. Majority of gun violence is suicide, and majority of people that do it is overwhelmingly white people that commit
And
suicide.
do you have any idea what number about? I know you probably don't, but can you guess of the suicide, as you say, how many a year would you say?
Of suicide?
Guys, wait, just real quick. Make sure that,
100,000.
wait a second. Make sure you're using TikTok friendly language, please.
Over 100,000, I believe, a year.
Good Lord.
I know.
We need to help. We need to help some of these people.
I know. The problem is, unfortunately, and unfortunately, OpinionatedGirl is not going to mention this. The reason why they use firearms is because it is the best way to get their lives gone. So a lot of people talk about saving people's lives, but they don't want to have firearm regulations to help people not obtain these firearms. But
no, I don't want to give away my rights because of. Thank you, Frankie.
Firearm regulations and it's not giving away your right to have.
It absolutely is, right?
Having hold up, are you telling me that having firearm control, having regulation of that is taking away your right?
Yeah.
I think that if you want to do it, you're going to get the gun the pew pew one way or another, and a law against it won't help anything. And we can't help it if you're crazy.
Or if you want to unalive yourself, there's plenty of ways to do it that don't involve weapons. What you are asking me to do, and I wish people understood this, especially, like I said, self-proclaimed feminist, right? I'm like a smaller person. I'm 5'3". I'm not going to win a fight against a grown-ass man. It's just not going to happen, right? Because I'm realistic. What you are asking me to do when you say that you want to eliminate firearms, which there are leftists.
No one is saying that.
Wait a second.
No. That's not the argument, though. That's not the argument.
I'm not saying that's your. Wait a second. I'm not saying that's your argument, but there are definitely people on the left who have advocated for this, and to try to pretend it doesn't exist is just not to live in reality.
The
but
argument
number one, let me finish talking. Let me finish talking. Because there are plenty of people who want to get rid of firearms, and there are plenty of people who want to put unreasonable expectations on it, right?
Like what?
People who want to make it very expensive, which is actually discriminatory against those living in poverty.
It's already expensive. How much is to get a firearm? It's already expensive. What are you talking about?
That's
firearms are already
more
expensive.
Money to it. Let me finish talking. I don't know why this is so hard for you. I hope this doesn't happen during the debate. Anyway, so what you are asking me to do as a woman to make it harder for me to be able to protect myself, I think that's ludicrous. I don't want to give up my security simply to make other people feel better or because they might go out and do harm to themselves. That's tragic, and we should get people the mental health help that they need, but I'm not willing to give up my rights for it. Sorry.
Okay, what gun control, what firearm control initiative do you think is wrong? So do you think that having a background check, that you have to do a background check, is taking away your right to get a firearm?
Yeah, no. I mean, it is.
It is. Okay, but it's okay for people to have their ID to vote. Yeah. But it's your right to vote. That doesn't make any sense. You have the right to vote, though. You have the right to vote, though. Just like you have the right to have a weapon, you have the right to vote. But you're telling me you don't need an ID to get a weapon, but you need an ID to vote.
I know, but sir, you don't have to repeat yourself. You already said that once.
Do you know what the word
I'll repeat myself if I want to.
There's a really specific statement here that I think we should go over. Shall not be infringed, right? Shall not be infringed. What does that mean, right? Because I think that we need to get to the root of why the Second Amendment exists, right? The Second Amendment doesn't even necessarily exist for self-defense against criminals, although that's definitely become part of it. It is against a tyrannical government, right? And the first thing that all of these tyrants did, that all of these evil dictators throughout history did, was disarm the population. I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to be disarmed. I'm not going to let a government who has a militia try to impose upon me. Guys, real quick, we still have the flash goal going on. Make sure to send one, what is this? One heart me, if you haven't already, to help us reach the goal. Dabad, thank you for coming up. We're going to cycle on to the next guest. I don't want to spend too much time debating other topics. If you want to bring up a guest, Simple, go for it.
Yeah. Let's bring up, dang, that's a lot of people. I'm gonna bring up the first
staged event.
I don't think the person came up. Oh, there you go.
Hello. Yeah. What is the simple black theory?
Him.
What is simple black theory? So basically, simple black theory is basically where I break complicated things and I try to simplify it. And what I try to do sometimes is I try to make sure I engage it towards the Black community. So let's say if I'm talking about like Thanksgiving, I also try to attribute to how it affected Black people in certain ways. And sometimes I would try to add theories in there so people understand, hey, like he's bringing up a theory. Like I have a few theories. I'm a philosopher, right? You know, I'm a philosopher. So simple Black theory.
What? Okay, so you're dumbing down topics for Black people to understand?
I did not say that. It's
yeah, you did actually. Wait, I'm sorry, because you did. You said, wait, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. It's my panel.
That is what you said, though. Because you said specifically that you take these topics and you simplify them for Black people and Black communities to understand. And then you said that you add in clarifications for Black people, and then you gave an example.
So let me say
it again. Diabolical.
Stop. Let me go now, because you're interrupting. So this is what I said. I take complex things and I simplify them. And I also try to bring it towards Black people by bringing Black ideas or Black knowledge into it. An example I said was, if I'm talking about Thanksgiving, I'll also talk about how it affected Black people. And I'll also put theories in some certain things. That's what it is. If you feel some type of way about it, I don't give a fuck.
All right, no need to get hyperbolic.
However, you were just being hyperbolic. Like,
excuse me, I was not. However, the whole idea.
Your turn. I'm not gonna have no person try to check me about my name. The fuck? You don't get it.
Okay. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained, but let's see. Welcome, Noah. Question.
Yeah, Reddit or Twitter? I'm just wondering, Reddit or Twitter for gooning? What's your move, Simple Black Theory, for Reddit or Twitter for gooning? What's your move?
Noah, how old are you?
Old enough.
I don't think you are old enough, and that's an inappropriate question. You can try. Guys, please, for the love of God, don't waste our time.
Yeah, that was, I don't know what the hell this person's talking about. Next person, Nico.
Simple Black Theory, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. What's good?
Yo, man, I love your videos, bro. I love what you do, bro. You are one of my favorite because you be checking the fuck out of everybody. I love that. I joined because you have somebody else in here, and it's what's her name? That opinionated girl. Now,
literally written on the screen, my love.
Now, everybody got their own opinions. Everybody is entitled to how they want to feel, but some of the videos you be making is egregious. Seriously egregious. I don't know how you do it. And again, you can have your views, but it's just it's egregious. Very.
You're just saying the same word over and over again, my love. I don't know if you
one of the big things is that the whole Israel and Palestine situation is how you talk about the Palestinians. Like, I know you're a Zionist. I know, you believe Israel has a right to exist, but do you see the Palestinians as real people? Like, do you see them as humans? Like, how do you feel about them?
I think that's two separate categories. Obviously, they are human beings, but are they a real people? No. Palestinianism is an invention of Arabic colonization.
What?
What are you talking about?
This is exactly what I was talking about. This is why I said your opinions, because how do you hold on, wait a minute, wait. Hold on, let me say this. Hold on, wait, hold on. Let me just say it's because Palestine has been around for thousands of years. It was there before Israel was even created. Israel was created in 1948.
Great. So could you tell me where the term Palestine comes from? When was the land first referred to as Palestine, and who named it that?
It's been Palestine for thousands of years. And I know you're probably going to go and say about...
Wait a second.
I got you.
Wait, hold on a second. Matter of fact, wait. Let me let you talk, bro, because let me let you...
Nobody answered my question.
I'm going to answer it right now. Listen, I'm not even going to go as far back, right? When the British
mandate...
I want you to
go far back.
As far back?
I want you to answer my question. I asked a very specific question. When did it become known as Palestine, and who named it that, and why?
The Romans named it Palestine when they were talking about the Romans, and the Greeks also named it Palestine when they were talking about the whole land. It was later.
So who did the Romans take it from? I'm curious.
Okay, hold up. First of all, because you're asking a lot of questions, and I wanted to ask a question. I asked your question. I already asked your question, but now I want to ask you a question.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
No, because I want to say this. I want to.
I'm just say it, bro, so I can speak. Say it. No, let him speak.
Yeah. Let me just say this one, because I answered your question. You asked me when I gave. Yes, you did. You asked me when was it referred as Palestine. I said the Greeks, the Romans, and the Greeks referred it too. But now,
where did the Romans take it from?
Oh my! I'm not going to answer your next question. Let me go now. You asked your question. It's my turn now, right? So, do you know anything about the British Mandate?
The answer is the Jews, guys.
Do you know anything about the British Mandate?
Do you know about the British Mandate? Do you?
Yes, sir.
What is the British Mandate, and what did the British Mandate basically said about the word Palestine? Because it's in there.
The British Mandate was another form of colonization, this time from the Brits, right? They took the land from the Ottomans, not the Palestinians, because the modern creation of the Palestinian people actually didn't come about until the 1960s by an Egyptian man by the name of Yasser
Okay,
Arafat.
but in that land, hold on a second, but in that land has already been Jews, Muslims, and Christians. They was already living there. So my whole thing is this: how is Israel, right? Because I know how Zionism was something about some dude named Herzl, whatever his name is, in 1898, the whole Jewish Congress, and then the Holocaust was a tragedy that happened, and then they wanted to flee Europe and come to Palestine, and the Palestinians, they welcomed them with open arms, and then you guys essentially start repeating history since then.
Okay.
How does that?
No, he just spoke. 1 second, let me respond. That's
fine.
Anyway, so a lot of what you said is just blatantly false. First of all,
that's not false. That is the truth.
It is false, and now I'm going to explain to you how.
Okay,
using
go ahead.
thing called history. So first of all, Jewish people were exiled from that land. They were enslaved. They were murdered, massacred, kicked out, right? Weren't allowed to live there and did not have the specific religious protections that they needed. That's why we saw tragedies such as the 1929 Hebron massacre, where the few Jews that were living in that land were murdered by the Arabs who were living in that land, right? So that's first and foremost. The Jewish people were not welcomed into that land. They were allowed into that land, not by the Arabs who were there, but by the British people, right? Because the British people had made a deal with them that they would be able to go back to their ancestral homeland, which is why they wanted to go back to Israel, right? And this is something that is seen throughout the Jewish religion. If you know anything about Passover Seders, for example, which is one of the major holidays in Judaism, what do they always say at the end of their prayer? Next year in Jerusalem, right? Because this is their ancestral homeland. They are an ethno-religion, as in ethnically from the land of Judea. And you could do this all you want, but that doesn't negate history.
Yeah,
wait a second. Wait, hold on.
Let me finish.
I'm gonna go after Nico real quick. Now that you
you finish, and I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna let my brother speak.
Go ahead.
Finish. Go ahead.
I'm trying to. This whole idea that they were welcomed back in with open arms. No. There were plenty of pictures and videos, actually, of Arabs there throwing rocks and sticks at them. If you're familiar with the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, he was an Arab man who actually met with Hitler and asked him to bring the Holocaust to the Middle East, in which Hitler said, "We will do that after we finish what we are doing in Europe." The entire reason there was no establishment of a modern state of Palestine at the same time as the modern state of Israel is because when they were offered a two-state solution, they turned it down, refusing to live with Jewish people as neighbors.
Okay. Hold on a second.
No. I have to go. So we have to go back to this British Mandate. You said that it was a colonizer thing, which is funny because the British Mandate is what have basically officiated the idea that Israel or the Jewish state can be in Palestine. Because after the Balfour Declaration, which was agreed upon with Beaufort, and I forgot this rich ass Rostaford, I think his name is.
When they the Rothschild.
Yeah, when the Balfour Declaration went through, they put it in the British Mandate. The British mandate is what basically allowed Israel what basically created the coexistence of Israel being what's what I'm looking for, sovereignized or becoming a sovereign nation because of that British mandate. Then they changed it when the UN came, because basically like British was the one that basically gave Jewish people the land. So you can't sit here and be like, oh, the British mandate is a colonizer thing, when the colonizers are the Israelis, and that's how you got your land. So yes, you're right. The British mandate is a colonizer document, and that document literally gave Jewish people the land.
Okay, I gotta say this. Hold on, wait, hold on. All right, everybody spoke. Hold on.
Okay,
all right,
we'll do 2 against 1, I guess. That's fine.
No, I'm gonna let him go after what he says.
You guys
it's not
make
even
half
2
of
against 1, because
equality.
my whole thing is this, right? Because you're saying that they didn't welcome you in, which maybe some of them was, maybe some Arabs and Christians wasn't happy that you came in. That's just how it is. When people go to different parts of the world, there's gonna be a select few that are not happy that outsiders are coming in. But my thing is this: they have been living, but most of the population has been living there for thousands of years. Jews, Christians, Muslims, they have been living in peace. Now, I didn't really know much. I knew about the British mandate, but my brother Black Theory just went into it in much more detail that I didn't even know about. But point being, they were still living in peace. So how can you go there and then chop up the land and then put the Palestinian people into Gaza? Hold on. Into Gaza, which by the way is this? I live in New York City. Gaza is essentially the size of Manhattan. Packing all those people into one, and on top of it, then you got the West Bank. You took the land out and then said you guys could have just came in, lived in peace. You guys was fleeing a genocide, which was horrible. Hitler's a piece of shit. I'm not gonna sit here and argue that.
And why did the Arabs in the land want him to commit a Holocaust there as well?
That's maybe okay. Even if you're right, that is a select few. That is not the majority of the population that wanted that to happen.
Right?
They still welcomed
we
you.
can talk about the Iron Fist policy.
No. You just spoke.
What do you mean? You interrupted him. Let him finish then.
Hold on a second. But my thing is
There's
this.
2 of you.
Let
There's
him.
1 of
Okay,
me.
so let him finish. I'm gonna stop
He
talking.
just finished.
Let him
I don't
finish.
know why you're spazzing the fuck out.
Hold on, hold on. It's good, bro.
Are you
Hold on,
done?
bro. So my thing is this.
There's 2 of
Alright,
you.
so
There's 1 of you.
even if the British mandate didn't happen, you telling me you guys could have not just went there and it just continued being Palestine for everybody, and you got Jerusalem that's connected to all 3 religions. All 3 religions is connected to Jerusalem, so it cannot just be in peace. You had to take their land, then commit the Nakba, and then in the 60s was some war that made it even worse. And then fast forward to today, because October 3rd, which basically is now an excuse to kill all of them. Come on.
Yeah. So you sound silly. First of all,
I'm talking.
Hold on. Mika, I'm gonna let you go because I don't want to.
Yeah, you are gonna let me go because it's my turn.
What are you talking about? So I'm gonna let him go. Relax. You can go. It's your turn.
I know it is. Thanks. Anyways, we already established that they were not living in peace. I gave you the example of the 1929 Hebron massacre, where Jewish men, women, and children were all brutally murdered because of anti-Semitic blood libel that was being brought forth by the Arabs. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of jizya, but that's something in Islam where people who are not Muslim are forced to pay a tax at the hands of the Muslims, right? Because they are being basically humiliated. That's the reason for jizya, and this is actually cited in the Quran. And that's something that Jewish people who are living in the land were forced to do. Otherwise, they would be unalived or imprisoned or have their homes and businesses attacked. This is something that Christian people have faced, by the way, as well at the hands of Islam. This whole idea that Jewish people are colonizers in their indigenous homeland is extremely strange to me, right? Because we already established Judaism is an ethno-religion. Jewish people are indigenous to the land of Judea. Palestine is quite literally the name that the colonizers gave it as a way to mock the fact that they were able to defeat the Jewish people. This idea of, well, it could have just been Palestine and they could have lived in harmony. The name has nothing to do with it, right? The Jewish people didn't care about the name. That's why Golda Meir, one of the first Israelis, or I guess Palestinians at the time, right? One of the first Jewish people in Palestine, first prime ministers, referred to herself as a Palestinian because it was never about the name of the land. It was about being able to be there and have equal rights under the law.
So you just admitted that was real.
I'm still talking.
You just admitted it was real.
That what was real? The name Palestine, wait a second. The name Palestine is real, yes. And it was something that was given to the land by colonizers. I don't particularly care to use the word of colonizers who predicated the entire existence of the Palestinian term off the eraser. I'm still talking, dude. Anyways, Yes, the British mandate of Palestine. You could do that all you want. You sound like a genuine dumbass,
Yeah,
right? Because
I'm
you
a
haven't been
genuine
able
dumbass.
to.
You
I'm
lit-
still talking. You haven't been able to dispute a single thing I've said, right? We already established and you admitted that the Romans were the ones who changed the name of the land to Palestine, right? So in what world,
So the name was
wait a
real. You
second.
told me it never existed, and then you told me how far can I go back. I told you how far can I go back, and now you're upset that I actually gave you evidence of Palestine actually being the real term people used.
I think that you might be a little bit mentally.
And then you sat here and then said that the British mandate is a colonizer document. But then,
I never said document. What the hell are you talking?
What do you mean? It's a letter. It's still a document. But you said it was. You said it was a colonizer. You said it was. You said it was a colonizer document. But little did you know that that's how Israel was able to be established.
Here's the thing, right? If you keep interrupting me, I can't converse with you. You had two people speaking and then you interrupt me every time. I never said that the term Palestine didn't exist. I said that in the modern sense, as in these Arab people are not Palestinian. And you know who would have agreed with me? The Arabs living in the land at the time. Because if you look at the supposed Nakba, who was it orchestrated by? It was orchestrated by the Arab League, not by Palestinians, because they hadn't been created by
What the fuck are you talking
Let me finish talking and you'll know what I'm talking about, right? The Arab League was a mix of Arab countries, also Arab people who were in that land at the time, who decided that they were going to invade and attack the newly established state of Israel because they didn't want to live with Jews. What they were advocating for at the time, their elected leadership, by the way, they were advocating to once again be part of Syria, Palestina, which is what the Romans originally called the land, right? Because they hadn't invented the terminology. I would bet you dollars to donuts that had Israel not been established in the modern sense, had they been successful in their annihilation of the Jews, which they openly talked about desiring, then you would not see this creation of Palestine, because its existence in both the historical sense under the Romans and the modern sense under the Arabs merely exists to annihilate the Jewish people from their indigenous homeland. Anyways,
you're making me laugh. Yo, what's so funny of what you said made no sense. You said the Nakba was by the Arab. Correct me if I'm wrong. Last time I checked, literally the Arab League literally told you, warned Israel. They said, if you become a sovereign nation, we will go to war. This was a warning. Also, you're talking about that Palestinian wasn't a word. First of all, again, you sat here and said, what?
I didn't say that Palestinian wasn't a word.
Okay, you know what? Fine. I'm not even gonna argue that. I'm not even gonna argue that. I'm not even gonna argue that. It's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. Thank you.
Great, but don't put words in.
I'm reclaiming my time.
That's not how this works.
Thank you. So as I was saying, right? Like, you sat here and said that Nakba was made by the Arabs. This makes no sense, because literally when it was being voted by the UN, first of all, it wasn't even a sovereign vote. It was a vote for based on recommendation, when they said that Israel can that they could be a two-state solution, a partisan act. And when we talk about the partisan deal, the partisan deal didn't even have the Arab nations involved. Palestine was not involved in that. They boycotted that. They said they didn't want that. And instead of having negotiations, they just said, UN just said, let's vote on it. They voted on it. All 10 Arab nations rejected that idea. And then what happened? And then give me, you know why Israel became a sovereign nation? They became a sovereign nation the day before Britain left. That man, he told me, oh, that's a colonizer document. Great Britain is the colonizer that got Israel into Palestine. So what are you talking about? You sat here capping your ass off, but little did you know that the Nakba that displaced over 700 Palestinians into a small quarter was literally because of Plan D. Why are you interrupting me? Because of Plan D. Plan D, which was created by going to Palestinian land, seizing people's land, taking people's lives, and then getting rid of them. This happened in Haifa. This happened in, I'm trying to remember the other one. There was numerous places, but you have a guess, and we're going to save this. We're going to save this. Go ahead, bro.
No, because that's not related to the topic, and you're not just going, first of all, over 700 Palestinians. I mean, I guess you're not wrong.
700,000. 700,000.
700, my love.
700,000 was displaced.
And you keep putting more.
750,000.
Cool. Great. The Arab countries surrounding the land of Israel actually dispelled 900,000 Jews, but you never said a word about that because you don't actually care about innocent people. But that's neither here nor there, right? They did this at the same time.
Whatever.
Wait a sec. You just, yeah, I know. Go ahead. Anyway, you debunked yourself once again, and then you try to put words in my mouth because you keep talking about documents. I don't know what document you're referring to. The British Mandate of Palestine wasn't a document. You also tried to bring up the UN into this. The UN partition plan fell apart because, like you said, the Arabs didn't want it. And why didn't the Arabs want it? Because they decided that they would not.
It didn't fall apart. What are you talking about? Israel became. Go ahead.
Let me finish talking. It did fall apart, and that's because the Arabs said no. And why did they say no? Because they wouldn't live in peace with Jews, which is literally what they cited. And again, I already brought up to you the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, who quite literally wanted to Holocaust the Jews in the Middle East. And the Arab leaders in the surrounding Arab countries who actively tried to do this, once again, with the expulsion of over 900,000 Jews. You could do that because you're losing and you have to cope somehow. It's fine. You also openly admitted that the Arab League threatened to invade Israel, which they did. And they actually warned their people, wait a second, they warned their people preemptively because of this, right? Because their people were the Palestinians of today. So they told them to leave their homes. That's what a lot of the expulsion supposedly from the Nakba was Arab leaders going in and telling their people that they need to leave because there's going to be a war. And they believed that they were going to be able to decimate the newly established Israel. They lost horrifically, and then they were mad that they didn't get to go back into the land that they had just tried to attack. So you openly admit
Type shit. Okay, but listen though. No, listen though.
I don't know who you think you are. Wait a second. This dude
Yo,
interrupted.
free Palestine. Free Palestine. Israel does not exist.
Okay, you sound fucking stupid. Anyway, as I was saying, right, you openly admit that the Arab League attacked Israel, and now you're crying, Nakba, Nakba. No, it's called getting your ass kicked in a war that you started. Palestinians love to do that. You guys do it quite often. It's a little bit embarrassing.
First of all, there wasn't dispelling them. It was because the people of Palestine were getting kicked out of their lands, and they were migrating. They were becoming refugees in other places, and they were like, no, you need to go back to your land, and they try to get the land back. That's what happened. Somebody they dispelled 900,000. No, these people were displaced, had to leave, and then these surrounding nations were like, we're gonna get your land back. Like you said, you said yes, they attacked Israel, but they warned this. And again, when we talk about, this is part of my argument anyway for this. Well, I'm gonna allow your guests to go. I'm gonna allow you to go because you're cooked. You've been capping since day one.
Okay. Sweetheart, you didn't even know who Rothschild was. I don't think I had much to
I knew Rothschild. You talking about me?
Yeah, I'm talking about you.
I knew who Rothschild was. I just didn't know how to pronounce his name. I forgot his name. But I was whatever. It don't matter. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know who Rothschild was. That's your argument?
No, it's just a precursor to how badly you're about to do.
Okay. I was the one that. Okay.
Okay. So my question is, I just saw your video from today or a few days ago about actually stitching Maddie's video about the IDF soldier who hammered the statue, and I want you said, oh, nothing happened to him, nothing happened, they didn't take, which first of all they did, but
what did I say in the video? I didn't say nothing happened to him. What did I say?
No, you said that he was only put in prison for 30 days.
Jail for 30 days, and he was taken away from his like being part of the army type shit. That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what do you have to say about actually the Palestinians and other Arab countries who have bombed Christian bookstores, the last one in Gaza? And you know what they do? They reward that type of behavior there. They reward it.
Israel does it so much that it's like
Israel does it. It's the only country in the Middle East where it's legal.
They're the face of it. Like, that's the face. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. You have to find another example of other people doing it, but you can't face the fact that Israel's done it. But
you can't face the fact that Iran and every other country that Hamas does it. They literally, the Christian population has decreased, and you're saying Israel does it? Israel's the only country that allows you to be freely Christian.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Israel not bombing a Christian village in Lebanon?
No, they're not intentionally bombing. Maybe you should tell Hezbollah. Maybe you should tell Hezbollah to stop.
And they're doing it now. What are you telling me?
Okay, you're really angry. You need to calm down.
I'm passionate, gang. Yes. Because you're lying. You're sitting here telling me that Israel is currently not bombing a Christian village in southern Lebanon. And they did it again in 2024. Is that not true?
And you,
Am I lying?
you don't say, you don't care though.
wonder-
That's my problem with you.
Okay,
Is you
I
don't
care. About
care.
it. You're right.
I wonder
You don't
what
care.
terror organization could potentially be in this village because
Exactly.
they're occupying the Christians' land, making them a minority.
Yeah, and that's why Israel also attacked UN peacekeepers, because they must be it too, right? Explain that. Why
That's
are they
one way to
attacking
call that.
UN peacekeepers? UN
Show me
peacekeepers,
where
why are they
Israel
getting killed?
specifically targeted UN peacekeepers, because I could show you. I could show you Hezbollah purposely unaliving UN
Holy
peacekeepers.
fuck. First of all, Hezbollah was created because of the occupation of Lebanon by Israel. If you don't know that, most of these, yes. What are you talking about?
No.
Most of these proxies are created because of Israel.
There's
Hezbollah,
no.
Hamas, holy fuck.
Yeah,
Why was
they're
Hezbollah
funded
created?
by Iran.
Why was Hezbollah created?
Iran, buddy.
Okay, and why Iran created Hezbollah? Because Hezbollah,
Because they want to eliminate
Iran
America
did not
and
create
Israel.
Hezbollah. Iran funds Hezbollah. Get that straight.
Why are you
Why was
turning
Hezbollah
to the
created?
side like that?
Who created Hezbollah? Who
Who
created
are you
Hezbollah?
talking to over there?
It doesn't matter. Why you focus on how I'm interacting?
Because
Focus
you're
on
facing
you
the wall.
losing this argument. You don't even know your own Israeli history.
Well, I'm not
sad.
Israeli, first of
I
all.
know more than you. I don't
We're not
care.
Israeli. We're not Israeli.
Well, but the way you be like Israel, the way you be like Israel might as well be Israeli. The
No.
fuck?
No.
No.
So you support Palestine, so you might as well be Palestinian? Is that your point?
Fuck yeah, the fuck.
Oh.
Stop playing, bro. Them niggas are raw, and the fuck what Israel is doing is wrong. And after our debate, people are gonna realize what Israel is doing is wrong, and then you get the fuck out.
Sweetheart, after our debate, people are going to realize you need to be medicated.
What do you mean? I have people right here that are telling you that you literally took the L. Like in this little conversation that we have, you took a massive L. You know that, right?
Not if you
Whenever someone proves you wrong, you just start yelling at them and you get overly angry and you don't let them speak.
And that's why you lost. Okay, get it. That's why you
What?
lost.
You can't let people speak, and
Yeah.
I didn't lose. You are historically illiterate, my love.
That's why you're losing. You're losing to an illiterate person, to an illiterate black guy.
Why do you bring race
What?
into everything? It's very weird.
Because what do you mean? Race is always added to everything. Race is very important. When you sit here and you call me illiterate, despite that I know these facts, it pushes the idea, oh, he's another illiterate black guy.
That's not what
So,
anyone
yes.
I
said.
think that your self-victimization is very strange and another way to
Is it
try to
self-victimization
yourself.
or is it understanding reality, or is it self-realization? Is that
No,
what you're
because
confused
there's
about?
plenty of very genuinely unintelligent Tim Waltz adjacent white people that I debate with. Your skin color has nothing to do with it. You're just
Yeah, also, what about the fact that Gavin Newsom literally said that he can't read? He's like black people, and I'm quoting that because he can't read.
I don't fuck with Gavin Newsom. I don't give a fuck. At the
Okay,
end of the day, I'm telling you the facts. I love how you guys are trying to find like things adjacent, a tangent. You guys are going on a tangent on shit. I'll say one thing. Well, this happened. Why aren't you focused on what I'm telling you? The conversation is on Israel. If Israel is doing these things,
Because you're factually
you're
incorrect.
supposed. So okay, am I lying when I said that Lebanon, that a village, a Christian village in Lebanon, was not attacked multiple times by
You're
Israel?
lying.
You don't want to talk about the
And
reason. You don't want to talk about the reason.
you're lying by omission.
Yeah.
What's the reason?
Hezbollah
Because
has taken
Hezbollah
over
was
that
there.
village and is using it to orchestrate attacks against Israel.
First of all, it's so funny because in 2024, when they attacked there, what did Netanyahu said? He said Hezbollah's not going to be a fucking problem. That's what he said. He said Hezbollah is no longer a threat. Now look at 2026. Hezbollah is a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So I'm confused. Wait, so that means Netanyahu is susceptible to lying. He lies to his people. So if he's telling you Hezbollah
And what about Hamas?
was
They're
in
not
the
lying?
what are you talking? I love how you focus on one thing. If the conversation,
real quick,
was Hamas,
let me address what you said, right?
I would focus on that.
This idea that Netanyahu was lying. First of all, I don't think that any politician is above lying, so that's first and foremost.
So you agree he's a liar?
One second, let me finish. But I don't think that he was lying to the people of Israel. If you look at how badly Hezbollah had been hurt after the pager attack, oh, what the hell? After the pager attack, you would see that it was a substantial hit, right? Over half of their weaponry had been decimated. A lot of their top commanders had been unalived or severely injured. Don't interrupt me. I could see you getting ready to do it. And their line of communication had been all but destroyed. So there was a very clear reality that was pointing to it being the end of Hez. Unfortunately, wait a second, please. Unfortunately, Israel does this thing that they tend to do, which is they are too nice. They should have gone in and finished the job then. But because Israel, as well as America, have not been allowed to win a war in recent times, we are not seeing this come to fruition in the way that it absolutely should. So should Hezbollah be a threat? No. Israel should have gone in and finished them off when they were at their weakest, but because they were forced into an arbitrary ceasefire in order for American demands, essentially, they weren't able to do so, and Hezbollah rebuilt, which we've seen with other terror groups such as ISIS.
Hezbollah's intelligence
Why can't you
must be
stop
trash.
moving?
No, you're a guest. I don't really talk. I care with you when you talk. Hezbollah, I'm not speaking. Israel's basically what you're telling me is Israel's intelligence is always shitty. Because the last time I checked, Netanyahu went to the Situation Room and told Donald Trump that if he attacked Iran, it'd be in a matter of 1 to 2 days, and that Iran is on close to Strait of Hormuz. Like, this is not the first time that Netanyahu has bad intel. In fact, that's all he's good at doing, is giving bad intel to people. And again, the idea, this Christian, more than likely, and I have to look into it because I remember reading that this Christian nation.
You need to look into a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to you. You're a fan, okay? Just be a fan and sit there and listen. Can you do that? Again, so the idea of Netanyahu seeing the pager thing, which I did took a substantial amount of Hezbollah people, but the intelligence committee wasn't able to see that they're a threat. Mind you, they're not a regular threat. Hezbollah is not a regular threat. They're not making a small problem. Hezbollah is currently stopping Israel from expanding in Lebanon, which is their goal. So how is the president? There's one thing of making a mistake. There's nothing of lying. So how are you gonna tell the Israelis, which are pissed right now because Hezbollah is a problem? How are you gonna tell the Israelis that they're no longer a threat? And now,
so I think you need to listen to me when I speak.
What you said they should have went in and finished it off. The amount of shit that they have now, it's almost as if they didn't do anything in 2024. That's the problem. We're not talking about a small threat. You're talking about as if all they had to do is just finish it off and there would be done. So why do we have so much shit now? Why is it a problem now? Why are they struggling now?
Why you're asking me questions, I already answered. It's strange. I recommend.
It's a shitty answer.
Wait a second. No.
It's clear you have comprehension issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, she just make comments.
Wait a second, Simple. This idea, right, that Israel gave bad intelligence, they did not, nor did I say that they did. What I said,
remember that, guys.
Wait a second, what I said, and you would know this if you had listened, right, is that Hezbollah was severely damaged, and had Israel been able to continue in the way that they wanted, they would have been decimated. I have no doubt in my mind. But because Israel is always being kind of forced to fight with one hand tied behind their back, because they're always being forced into shitty ceasefire deals in order to appease the international stage, they weren't able to go in and completely annihilate Hezbollah in the way that they should have been. And we've seen this happen time and time again, like I already said as well. So it wasn't bad intelligence, it was bad international policy, and America was wrong for trying to pressure Israel into this. Frankie, I'm gonna drop you down.
Yeah, of course.
You, Simple. Do you want to bring up one more guest from your side, or do you want to just establish the rules and then start the actual debate?
I would love to bring a guest, but because it's like within 5 to 6 minutes, I think it'd be fair if we just establish the rules so everyone have a better idea. Because this is going to get crazy.
It's crazy, right? Because there are established rules, which
yes, but
not interrupting.
I agree. You're still gonna take that's the thing. You're gonna take the L. That's what's gonna be crazy. That there's 1,100. That's 1,000 people here that's watching you going to take the L. And the way this has already started, I already know you're gonna take the L. So yeah, it's gonna get crazy. So guys, The way this debate is going to be is it's basically going to be like a round thing. So we're gonna have the first round when the first person gets to present their information or present their argument, and then we're going to have the next person present their argument, and then we're gonna go back and forth. We have two debate topics. The first debate topic is was the Iran war necessary? Is that the best way to?
Is the Iran war just?
Right, it's the Iran war just, and is October 7th. Can we blame October 7th on Israel? So those are the two topics. Again, we're gonna have 3 rounds for each topic. The first one would be the individual presenting. The second individual is gonna present, and then we're gonna have the cross-firing round. We're going
Real
to
quick, I wanted to ask you something though. How long did you want the debate to last for each topic?
So I would say the individual like presenting, I would say it could be 3 minutes and then 5 minutes for the crossfire.
3 minutes and then 5 minutes for the crossfire, and you said you wanted 3 rounds per topic?
Not it, well, so yeah, because it'll be so technically it's just like you'll present your argument, or I'll present my argument, then the second person present their argument, then we do the crossfire, if that makes sense. So that's like 1 round, 2 round, 3 round.
Okay, so in total for each topic, the debate would be about 11 minutes.
Give or take, I guess.
That's a really quick debate. Do you want to?
I mean, I guess we can increase the crossfire because I think that's where we really get the nooks and cranny of it.
Do you
So I
maybe
guess we
want to
can
make that like 20 minutes?
Okay, yeah, we can make that 20 minutes.
And can we agree now on a no interrupting rule?
On the crossfire?
Yes.
Oh, in debate, there's no such thing as a non-interrupting rule.
There absolutely is.
For
Actually,
crossfires, no, there isn't. For
if you are
crossfires,
doing-
no, there isn't.
my love, if you're doing a formal debate and you interrupt, you get disqualified.
Do you know how Lincoln Douglas debate work? When you do a crossfire, the 2 individuals do not have your. Oh, you have to stop interrupting me. A crossfire doesn't do that. I hope you know that. I know this. I've done this. I'm letting you know.
I'm asking you, right? We'll keep it. I think that the way that I typically do things on my live, and I think that it's a fair way, keep it during the crossfire to 1 point at a time and don't interrupt people, because there's no point. You can't have a conversation if you're just constantly talking over each other.
And this is why we needed a moderator.
We don't need a
Moderator is the
moderator.
one that's supposed to do that. You cannot, in a crossfire, the 2 people that's in the debate do not have the obligation or the right to say it's my time unless it is their turn, which was
It's not about obligation or a right. It's if somebody is in the middle of saying something, it's basic respect to let them finish.
Okay, fine, deal. I don't want to argue this. I don't want to argue this. Deal.
I mean, it's just you can't have a conversation if you're constantly interrupting people.
I mean, in a crossfire.
The crossfire, you still can't. Here's a good piece of advice for you. If you're constantly interrupting somebody, all that means is that you're waiting to speak, that you're not actually
don't care
listening
for
to
your
them.
advice. If I
mean,
did,
it's helpful.
I would be a fan of yours, and I'm not because your advice are shitty.
I mean, you're a little obsessed with me, the amount of videos you make on me, so you might be a little bit of a fan. But I think that it's pretty basic to say don't
make
interrupt
shitty content.
1 point at a time.
Easy. You make very shitty content, so it's very easy to do it. That's why.
Great. So just so we're clear and everybody watching is clear. Also, guys, please continue to like the live, share the live with 5 friends, join the team, leave positive comments to help protect it because this is a pretty contentious topic. Let's see. So 3 minutes each for opening statements and then 20 minutes for crossfire.
Yes. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first? Or do you want to like rock, paper, scissors? Because you can go first.
I don't want to go first.
All right. So if I go first, I pick which topic we talk about first.
That's fine.
Okay. The topic that I wanted to talk about first is the Iran war. Not being just. All right. I will start first.
Sorry, do you have a timer? Because I don't have a second device with me.
I do have a timer. I'm gonna make sure the ringer's on so we both can hear it. And then for you, when it's your turn, I'll just give you like signals of when your time's up, and I'll let you know when the signal starts. 3 minutes, guys. My time. Hold up. Give me a second. My time starts. You ready? Now. Okay. So when we talk about the Iran war, we first have to understand what was the goal for the Iran war to understand if it was just or even necessary. First, Donald Trump claimed that the Iran war was for regime change. What we see is that Iran has become more solidified when it comes to the government. We've seen that Donald Trump replaced Hamedi with Hamedi. We also seen that the IRGC is still strong and still have missile capabilities. That goes to my next point. Donald Trump claimed that the missile capabilities are deteriorated. He claimed that we took it down by 50%. That is not true. Recently, as early as April 12th, I believe, they released a statement. The U.S. Intelligence stated that Iran's missile capabilities is still at 60%, and they're still able to use this. We've seen them attack multiple ships at the Strait of Hormuz. We also need to understand that the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Before this war happened, the Strait of Hormuz was open. Now the Strait of Hormuz is not only closed, but now we may have a toll. We also need to understand that Donald Trump said the whole point of this war is to get a better deal than the Iran nuclear deal that Obama gotten us. Iran has came out and said that we are never going to go to a deal close to the Iran nuclear deal, and they want a deal closer to their side. What is Iran currently asking for? Iran is asking for unfreezed assets and for their sanctions to be removed, right? That is over 120 billion unfreezed assets and constant money going to Iran, which is way more than what Obama unfreezed for Iran. They also said they want to control the Strait of Hormuz, and that is a hard line. They're currently right now, I believe, in Qatar, or I forgot what they were in Pakistan yesterday, and today I think they went to I don't think it's Saudi Arabia. They went to Qatar to negotiate, and I believe they're also going to Oman. We also need to understand that Donald Trump believes that this is also going to help America create their big energy facility, which isn't true. What we need to understand is that America only makes about 13 million barrels of oil, and America uses 20 million barrels of oil. So if we think that America is going to become this big energy facility, it is not true, and it's impossible. I know she's using AI. We also need to understand is that Donald Trump also said that he wants to commit a G-side on the Iranians. Hold up. They're asking me to verify that I'm doing something. So I had 30 seconds left. I'm gonna pause it. Donald Trump has came out and said that he's going to eliminate their energy facilities and also commit a G-side on the Iranian people. If Donald Trump's first attribute, his first idea was to do regime change, why is he attacking the Iranian people? We're even seeing Israel attacking energy sites constantly as well. The first day of the war, Donald Trump and the United States attacked a grade school, killing over 40 Iranian girls. So we have to ask ourselves, oh, that's my time. Fuck.
Okay. Also, for future reference, I appreciate no misinformation about me. I'm not using AI. I'm writing down notes on what you're saying so I don't forget a point. And if somebody would like me to put the paper here, I have no problem doing that. Anyways, just let me know when you're going to set the timer.
All right. So when you have 2 minutes, I'm going to do this. When you have 1 minute, I'm going to do this. When you have 30 seconds, I'm going to do this. When you have 10 seconds, I'm going to do this.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. And your time starts now.
I think we need to first establish what is or isn't a just war. I think that in a lot of your points, you're going over whether or not you find this to be a successful war, which is completely different from the topic at hand. Right now, I would say this is actually one of the most just wars that America has been involved in since World War II. Because if this is not just, then what is? You're sitting there trying to say that Donald Trump was orchestrating a G-side or plotting a G-side against the Iranian people because he openly said that the IRGC was going to be diminished, right? He didn't threaten to unalive every single Iranian. He threatened the end of the Iranian regime, which is something that the Iranian people have been begging for our help with. If you want to talk about an actual G-side going on, we could talk about what the IRGC has been doing to their own people, where within the span of a month, a low estimate of those murdered is 40,000 people, right? Not even including all the other human rights abuses that are going on. For example, it's been talked about how women are being dragged into prisons where they are being essayed before they are being unalived because they believe that if they do that, then these women aren't going to go to heaven. Trump never said that America itself was going to do regime change. What he did say is that he was going to help empower the Iranian people to do it, right? That is the promise that he made to these protesters who have been begging for our help for years and years and years. Did Obama do anything to help these people? No. He released sanctions on the IRGC, as did Biden, and guess what? That direct funding went into more terrorist organizations. In fact, Biden released money to the IRGC about a week before October 7th, which was an actual G-side. Ooh, 1 second. Can you pause it?
Yeah.
It's saying that you got a violation.
Yeah, but I'm good. I'll just watch how I say my words now.
Okay.
But you're still at 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Perfect. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, I'm ready. So this idea that this isn't just, the Iranian people have been begging for our help for years and years and years. Their cries have fallen on deaf ears of these Democrat presidents. Donald Trump is the only one who has actually responded to their pleas and is trying to help them in a way that's also efficient for the United States of America. It is just to stand up for those who are being massacred and targeted by their corrupt government. It is just to prevent, a crazy regime like Iran from getting nuclear weapons or working on their long-range ballistic missiles, as they were already in violation of international law under the UN. They had already gotten caught lying about how much uranium they were enriching, as well as how far their long-range ballistic missiles can go, and they are the largest exporter of terrorism in the world. It is just to stop terrorism, it is just to stand up for people's freedom who have been oppressed, and it is just to protect the national security of America. That's it.
All right, you had like 5 seconds left, so you're straight. All right, so I guess we're going into the crossfire.
Sure.
I have a question for you. So you said that it being successful and it being just is two different things. So if this war doesn't go America's way and Iran wins this war, and can we both agree that this will make Iran more of a hard line than it was previously?
No.
No, so it'd be the same.
I think that, first of all, I don't believe that there's any possibility in which Iran wins this war.
That's not what I'm asking you, though. The question is, if you said that it being successful and it being just is not the same. So if Iran ends up winning this war and they become, either they're going to become stronger in their hard lines or they remain the same, are you saying that the war will still be just?
First of all, I think that the reasons for this war are going to remain just no matter the outcome. Second of all, this idea that even let's play into your semantics, right? I'm not a big fan of hypotheticals because I don't believe we need to play pretend when there's enough reality on the table. But let's say that we do play into this and Iran wins the war. That doesn't mean that they get out unscathed. Their capabilities would still be significantly damaged, like we saw after the 12-day war.
Yeah, well, the 12-day war and what's happening now is two complete things. And even then, Iran still showed they had their capabilities. America had to jump in and help. Don't forget that. But here's what I have to ask you. Okay, so if you say it's a just war, you said that it's for regime change. And correct me if I'm wrong.
I never said that. You said that.
Okay, so all right. So Donald Trump never mentioned a regime change. On the first day when he mentioned the war, he did mention regime change. That's a clear fact.
Empowering. Did he say that America was going to do it?
That's if he said he literally said after we bomb everybody, I want you to come out and take your government. He is asking for regime change. That is part of all this. If you're asking the people of Iran to take the government after I bomb them, you are setting up for regime change and you're doing regime change. That is what he was trying to do. He literally said at the first day. So you can't sit here and say that, oh, his goal was a regime change if the first day he announced his plans. And when he announced his plans, he even said that he wants the Iranian people to take the government after he attacks the government, which is part of the regime change.
Right. So he never said, again, and I already clarified this, I said in my opening statement that he was trying to empower the Iranian people to take their government back. That is completely different.
Bombing them. That's part of the regime change.
I'm still talking. Anyways, that's different than promising that America is going to be the one doing the regime change. This he never said, nor did he ever list it as a military objective for this specific war. It was heavily implied that he's trying to empower the Iranian people who have been massacred by their government to go out and take their government back, which is what they were asking America for. If you remember the monthly...
So America interfered.
I'm still talking. We agreed on no interruptions.
You agreed. Okay, fine.
You agreed as well, sir.
You're right.
Anyway. As I was saying, if you remember what happened in the months leading up to this war, the Iranian people were taking to the streets. Much of it was in an internet blackout, so we'll never know the sheer barbarity that was going on by the IRGC against their own people as they begged us to help them, which, like I said, is something that has happened multiple times in the past, and we've ignored their cries for help. So now I want to ask you a question, right? Because you asked me multiple in a row. Was it just when America and other certain allies decided that we were going to ignore the Holocaust? Was that a good thing? Was that just?
That's random as fuck. What does that have to do with the Iran war? I don't give a fuck about the Holocaust. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't give a fuck about the Holocaust. Like, that's not the conversation. Like,
I know it's not the conversation, but it sets a precedent.
What first of all, like, what the hell does the Holocaust have to do with Donald Trump starting the war with Iran?
Just answer the question.
All right, what's the question? What's the question?
Was it just of America to turn a blind eye to the Holocaust for as long as we did until, of course, Pearl Harbor happened?
Was it wrong? I mean,
was that a just thing to do to ignore the Holocaust?
No, it wasn't a just thing to do.
Great. So why should we ignore the Iranian people who are being holocausted by their own government?
Bet. So let's talk about that January thing that you mentioned, the 50,000 people. That protest happened because of the terrible economy. The terrible economy is a result of the sanctions that the American government has put on there. They're unable to change their infrastructures. They're unable to get the medicine. They're unable to get the things because of these sanctions, which affects the Iranian government, which is why Iran is currently at war. They're trying to remove these sanctions and get unfrozen assets so they're able to fix their economy, which is why the protest happened. That's why the protest happened. I'm still continuing. We also have to mention that you said that Donald Trump wasn't doing a regime change. If one country is doing something in order for a regime change to happen, that country is a part of that regime change. You cannot sit here and say that Donald Trump was not trying to do a regime change, but in the same time he sat here and said, "Oh, hey, guys, I'm going to bomb the country. After I bomb them, take it over." That's literally what happened. Even Donald Trump sat here and lied to the American government and said, "Hey, there's a regime change. We have new leaders." That's a lie. Donald Trump has constantly lied. But now I have a question for you. My question to you is: you said this is a just war. We currently know that over 500 million barrels of oil is no longer flowing, that we're 500 million barrels backed up, and we're currently facing a crisis because of the Strait of Hormuz being closed because of this war. Are you saying that millions of people suffering an energy crisis is just?
Great. So I would recommend that for this, we try to keep it to 1, maybe 2 points max, like I said before, because
fuck that. No, you told me there's no interruptions. I'm gonna answer how I answer it. You can answer how you want to answer. You're not gonna sit here and tell me this is how you're supposed to answer it. I literally sat here and told you, if you want someone to stop talking, you can say, "I reclaim my time." You said no. I said if I continue, you can't stop me. You said it's fine. So my question to you is.
Yeah, no, I heard your question. I'm just saying.
So do you think it's a just war?
I'm going to answer everything you said, right? Because it's my time, so don't think about interrupting me like you've done every time so far. So back to the original point. I think that it's strange how quickly you're willing to show yourself to be a hypocrite. Because what you said is that it was unjust for America to ignore the Holocaust, but now it's somehow just to turn a blind eye to the people.
It's America's fault to the sanctions.
Fuck, dude?
I'm gonna interrupt sometimes.
No, you're not. We already established this. I didn't interrupt you a single time. You just threw a tantrum over me asking you to consolidate points.
Interrupt me.
I did not. I raised my hand the same way you did. I raised my hand the same way you did.
I checked you. There's a difference.
You did not check me. I raised my hand. That's not interrupting.
All right.
Anyway, as I was saying, this is actually ridiculous. You're not intelligent. But as I was saying,
smarter than you.
You already showed yourself to be a hypocrite, right? You want to ignore 40,000 people being annihilated in a month. And like I said, that's a low estimate. We don't actually know the exact number, although it's believed to be much higher by the Iranian people because they were forced into a internet blackout by their own government who was trying to hide what was going on at the hands of the regime. We established that women are being dragged into prisons and and brutally raped so that they don't go to heaven, because that's what the IRGC believes. We already know that families were being charged extortionary rates if they wanted the bodies back of their loved ones with money that they couldn't afford. He's not listening to a word I say. This is so disingenuous,
No,
and I
I'm
don't know why
listening.
you're wasting my
I'm
time.
listening. I'm
Anyway,
listening.
I'm
just saying you're capping.
You're listening. I'm still talking. Anyway,
All right.
you're not listening, but that's neither here nor there. This idea that these protests were simply based off of the economy, that's just not true, right? Was that a factor in it? Yes, but if you want to sit here and try to say that the Iranian government didn't have money for their people, meanwhile, we know for a fact they were giving hundreds of millions of dollars to Hamas. They were actually giving close to $1 billion to Hezbollah during this time. Why do they have the money to keep feeding their sugar baby terrorist groups, but not to feed their actual people? We could also look at the historical precedent that was set with these protests, such as the Women Life Freedom Movement, which I'm going to assume you know nothing about, because your knowledge, if you could even call it that, is extremely surface level. So we already know that the Iranian people are being heavily oppressed. There's already been a precedent set for human rights abuses that the IRGC is committing against their own people. We know what they were doing to protesters. We know that they were funding these terror groups. At the same time, they were claiming that their people didn't have enough money to eat. So it's just absolute nonsense. Now, this idea of, is it just to create a crisis with oil? It's not our crisis. We're not the ones who are suffering. If you look at the people, or the countries rather, that are the biggest purchasers of oil, it's other horrific countries such as China, who are committing a genocide against the Uighur Muslims as we speak. So I don't really care about prohibiting China from being able to get cheap oil, who is also our enemy, and once again, also in the interest of national security for America.
So are you saying China is the only country that get oil? So we're not talking about Africa. We're not talking about Japan. We're not talking about Saudi Arabia, the way they get their oil. We're not talking about all these other countries. We're only focused on China. So you're telling me that because we're not the ones that's suffering, which we will be suffering in a couple months in June, because prices automatically go up. So just because we're not suffering, it's still a just war. Although other countries, Australia, Italy, I can't remember, there's another one, but all these countries are suffering because of this. You saying that it's okay that they're suffering?
Yeah, so me personally, I do value human life above the price of oil. I'm sorry that you don't. I'm sorry that you think that it is.
People are dying because there's no oil. What are you talking about?
People are not dying.
The price of oil is high. People are dying because of that. What you said made no sense.
I'm still talking.
All right, that made no fucking sense.
It did make sense, right? Because no, people are not dying because the price of oil slightly increased in certain countries, right? It's just not happening. People in Iran are dying brutal, horrific deaths, including but not limited to public hangings using cranes. There are children who are being murdered in front of their parents, and like I already explained multiple times, women being essayed so that they don't go to heaven. I value stopping that above the price of oil, especially when
30% no, hold up, because you're bullshitting like a motherfucker. No, because you're a bullshitter. 30% of fertilizer goes to the Strait of Hormuz. That is food. People are starving. Some people are not dying. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm still talking.
Yeah, anyway, fucking lying.
So if you actually look, this was actually a blessing in disguise for America as well as many of these other countries, because they realized very quickly that they cannot be dependent on a country that's unstable like the IRGC, like Iran under the IRGC rather. So what did they do? They're looking at other means to get oil. Some of them have opened their own reserves. Some of them are now starting trade with other countries. This is beneficial to America in the long run. Sure, there's going to be a pain period. Whenever you're trying to overthrow an evil regime, there's always going to be a pain period. But it's teaching these countries who were more dependent on the IRGC that that's a bad move and they should stop, which is going to cripple the IRGC even further in a way that we don't necessarily have anything to do with. This, I'm genuinely curious if you know anything about. Probably not, but I'm going to ask you a question now. Who was Masha Amini?
Masha Amini was, I believe, the individual that was killed because of the hijab.
Correct. And what came after her? What protest?
The women's revolution.
The Women Life Freedom Movement. Correct. Yeah. So should we ignore women being murdered on the basis of wanting to dress a certain way? Is that just?
No, I don't believe so. I agree with that.
Great. So we should have just left the disarmed Iranian population to fight alone while women are severely oppressed, or should we have done something about
That doesn't make sense, because you said the whole point of this war was not about regime change. So if Donald Trump was successful and there's no regime change, that would technically still happen. So this war wouldn't have changed that. So why are you bringing stuff that Iran is going through if you said the war had nothing to do with regime change? If the regime doesn't change, this still would happen.
Right, so I never said that this war has nothing to do with regime change. What I said is that Donald Trump never promised that America
That makes no sense. If Donald Trump is the one that did the war, and you said that this war had nothing, because you literally said it didn't come from his mouth. If regime change happens, it happens. But if his goal was not regime change, why are you bringing up things that happened in Palestine as if it would change without a regime change?
Okay, so my love, Masha Amini happened in Iran, not in Palestine. First and
I
foremost.
know. I said Palestine by mistake, but you know what I meant.
Well, maybe it'd be easier for you to collect your thoughts if he stopped interrupting.
Answer the question. If there was no regime, if Donald Trump,
I don't know who you're talking.
if you're not making sense, how
I'm
can you
making
sit
plenty
here
of sense.
and
You're
say,
just not
how can you sit here and say that the people were asking for this if Donald Trump literally, if you said that Donald Trump never said he was doing regime change? If we're successful, if we're successful and there's no regime change, that would mean the same regime would still be the same and they would still do the same shit. If they still do the same shit, how are we changing it? If that was never the point.
Right, I heard your question because I don't consistently interrupt, so I don't need you to repeat things. Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying, right, and you could sit there and pout about it because I'm calling you out on your impetulant behavior, but that's neither here nor there, right? As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, and Donald Trump never said that America was going to do regime change. He never said that we were going to be the one to directly do it, that we were going to empower, however, the Iranian people to take back control of their government. Because like we were talking about earlier when the topic of gun control came up, the first thing a tyrannical government does when they want to destroy their people and completely take over is they disarm the population. So we are helping to even the playing field because obviously a disarmed population is not going to be able to topple a I'm still talking. Stop. We already, dude, we made an agreement that we weren't going to interrupt. If you can't uphold that, then I'm not going to waste my time.
Go ahead, my bad. You just saying stupid shit.
All you say is stupid shit. And yet I'm still adult enough to control my mouth. If you can't do that, then don't waste my time.
All right. Continue with your stupid shit.
Anyway, as I was saying, yeah. So this idea that Trump said that this had nothing to do with regime change, I never said that. What I said is that America isn't the one directly doing it. We're empowering the Iranian people, which is what they've been asking us to. And while the Democrat presidents not only ignored it, but actually empowered the IRGC to do this by handing over money, it's absolutely asinine. Donald Trump himself has never come out publicly. Donald Trump himself has never come out publicly with military objectives. That's not something he has announced. So once again, I think that we need to bring it back to the actual debate that we were having, which is this war just? According to you, it is just to ignore the slaughter of tens of thousands of people, the human rights abuses of women, to allow Iran to advance toward a nuclear weapon, which they've already used to threaten innocent people, to allow them to massacre innocent people like 11-year-old Nessia Bathila, right? An 11-year-old little girl that was murdered by the IRGC in Israel because they indiscriminately fire against civilians, right? I know the child dying is so funny. A child dying is so funny, you sick fuck. You just showed exactly.
Can I go now? Because you're talking for no reason. Can I go?
I'm talking.
What you said made no fucking sense.
First of all, you can't sit here. You can't sit here and say that. I would love to know why you think an 11-year-old dying is funny.
Can I go now? First of all, you sit here and say that, first you sit here say that, it's not America's goal is not to start a regime change. They do it for the Iranian people. As of right now, it's been 8 weeks and there's been no regime change. Yeah, walk away because I'm about to cook. There has not been no regime change for 8 weeks. Donald Trump said that he was going to bomb and let the Iranian people go. When he was bombing facilities that had nothing to do with the Iranian regime. What Israel was bombing what? bridges. What they bombed? Schools. How is this helping the Iranian people? Israel has bombed facilities. America has bombed facilities. How does this help the Iranian people? He even said that he was going to help the Kurds. The Kurds is not helping that. So if his plan was to bomb Iran and get a regime change, it fucking failed. That's the point. If you said it's just, that's the whole point what you're fucking saying. You said, oh, it's just because we're looking at what's happening and we're trying to stop it. If it doesn't fucking stop and it makes it worse or it stays the same, it was never just. We spent fucking money for no fucking reason and we allowed the Iranian government to be stronger. Why? Now we're negotiating. You never told me what Trump is going to get. You know what Trump is going to give them? Trump has to give them more money to let them stop. The Strait of Hormuz is still fucking closed. You know what? Here's my question. How do you think the Strait of Hormuz is going to open? And if so, when?
Like I already said, I don't know.
I bet you don't fucking know. I don't know neither. And that's a fucking problem. You sat here and you're talking about how, people are not dying. Yes, 30% of fertilizer. You know what fertilizer is? Do you know what fertilizer is? Yes, you need that for food, right? If 30% of fertilizer goes to the Strait of Hormuz to go to other countries and they're not getting it, they can't grow their food. You know what oil is used for, right? Oil is used for energy, right? If oil prices go up and oil is not going anywhere, people suffer. You know what it means when they say we're in the worst oil crisis ever? We're in the worst energy crisis ever. You know what that means? You know how you get your lights? You know why Cuba's fucking suffering? Because they're not getting oil. So imagine Cuba, but imagine with a whole bunch of other countries. Cuba has blackouts, right? Cuba's suffering from energy, right? So what happens if other countries don't get that? That's the same shit. So you can't sit here and talk about, you don't care about 20,000 people dying? Yeah, there's more people dying.
40,000, that's in a month. I would love for you to pull up the numbers showing me plus 40,000 people dying from a lack of fertilizer because the Strait of Hormuz is closed. I already established with you pretty early on into this. You might have missed it because you were interrupting or making clown motion. But the countries who were previously dependent on the IRGC for oil have now found other ways in order to get that oil, and that includes with fertilizer.
What the fuck? That makes no fucking sense. If 30% of oil comes from the Strait of Hormuz, you can't just so happily get not. That makes no fucking sense.
Stop interrupting. I told you the first time. If you can't control yourself, you don't get to waste my time.
Stop sounding dumb.
Bitch, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, listen. I know what I'm talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
Shut the fuck up.
You can call me a bitch. I don't give a fuck. You're a lovely woman.
As I was saying,
you're a lovely woman. You just trash.
Cuba is suffering from this cool thing called socialism. They've been having power blackouts for a long time before the war with the IRGC started over here in America. Once again, you sound Wolf adjacent. Anyway, shut the fuck up. As I was saying,
you don't know that? Sanctions.
As I was saying, right? Cuba is our enemy. Once again, nobody is saying that the entire reason for this war is because of the Iranian people and regime change. That's obviously a part of it. You just
said that was not his fucking goal, and it's not working. There's no regime change. In fact, he's literally negotiating with the same regime.
If you cannot stop interrupting me, then I'm ending this. I'd love to engage in a debate.
You're trash. You're not making me think. You're saying shit that makes no fucking sense.
I don't think you have the ability to think.
You say you can't think?
I don't think you have the ability to think. I think you're fucking retarded, actually.
Everything you said has yet to make sense. You sat here and said shit that made no sense.
I can explain it to you. I can't understand it for you, right?
I bet.
So again, we already made an agreement. We already made an agreement that we weren't going to interrupt. I've been holding my end. You clearly cannot. So
it's very hard. It's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to listen to someone spread BS like you.
Yeah, I don't give a shit what you think is hard.
Trust me. It's hard. It's hard for me to debate real shit like this. When people sit here and cap like a motherfucker. You're saying all of this, but isn't Donald Trump negotiating with the same regime?
I'm not answering any questions because I was in the middle of speaking.
I fucking bet.
Yeah, because I was in the middle of speaking, right? I was in the middle of speaking. So I'm going to finish what I was saying. And if you can't control yourself, it's just simply not my problem. Anyway, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by somebody who lacks all impulse control and was probably never told no as a child. If you look, right, there were multiple perceived objectives, because like I said, Trump never openly admitted it.
What
He
are
does
they?
want the Iranian people to be empowered to take down their government. That's absolutely true. This whole idea that that the Iranian government's somehow going to be stronger after this, that's absolutely nonsensical. They lost the vast
What do you mean they got a Strait of Hormuz? They're controlling the Strait of Hormuz. You're not making no fucking sense.
They
I'm
lost
sorry.
over
You just make no
50%
fucking
of their
sense.
weaponry. They've lost their nuclear capability.
How? The U.S.
They have
intelligence
been
literally
completely
said they still
ostracized
have
from
it.
NATO.
They're
Many of
still
the
bombing
countries that were
boats.
buying oil from them, many of the
makes no
countries that are
fucking sense.
buying, many of the countries that were buying oil from them, and
China's
ignoring the
still
sanctions,
buying
I'm
it.
still
They're
talking.
shadow fleets.
I'm
They're still
still
selling their
talking.
oil. Iran
I'm
sold the
still
most oil than they
talking.
ever did.
Okay, I'm still talking. Anyway,
I'm sorry, bro.
most of
It's
the,
just-
you're not sorry. You're actually.
I'm not.
I know you're not. No shame. No shame for anything.
No,
Always the
no.
victim, never the shame.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
as
that,
I was
you're
saying
a
before
trash
I was
debater.
uh-huh.
I honestly,
right.
I would have talked less
Uh-huh.
if you were actually
I really
saying
don't.
some real shit.
Everything I'm saying is real shit. Anyway.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
no, it's
dog
fine. You
shit.
just want women raped in prison so they don't go to heaven. I see how you are as a person.
I never sat here and said that the Iranian regime was good. I'm saying how Donald Trump is doing it is
If
shitty.
you are against the war with the IRGC, you are actively defending the IRGC and the hell that they have been
He's
putting their
negotiating
people
with the
through.
IRGC. Is he not negotiating with them?
Anyways, as I was saying, right? It's ludicrous what you're insinuating here. By protecting the IRGC, you want women to be essayed, you want women to have no rights, you don't want them to be seen as equal citizens. We already established that many of the countries who were purchasing oil from Iran are looking for alternatives and have already found them. We've already established that their nuclear capabilities have been pretty heavily damaged, as well as their long-range ballistic missile arsenalry, which is great for not just America, but of course Israel as well as Europe, because they lied about how far their ballistic missiles can go, and they can actually hit mainland Europe. It stops their ability to give as much money to their terror proxies that have cost the lives of American citizens, as well as many of our allies, and of course as well as the Iranian people. I'm sorry that you think that the Iranian people should be forced to suffer because you don't have the stomach for actual war when dealt with actual oppression, which is why you have to cosplay it over here in America. But some people know what's worth fighting for. Anyways, we can move on to the next topic. I recommend you get better self-constraint.
Yeah, I guess we can. It's just y'all peep how she didn't want to answer my questions, but that's fine.
No, not asked in the middle of my sentence. I have a strict rule.
Yeah.
I have a very strict
See
rule.
here, she sits here and says, "Oh, yeah, the Iranian regime is gonna change because Trump's gonna bomb them, and then they're gonna take over." But who's Donald Trump negotiating with? Didn't he say it wasn't about regime change? He literally said it's not about regime change.
Donald Trump literally canceled negotiations yesterday, my love.
No, because Iran literally said they're not doing it. He sent niggas over. What you talk? Iran literally said we're gonna come, but we're not talking to America. So you know what Trump said? You guys are not going then. You remember when JD Vance was supposed to go? He was like, "Oh, I'm ready to go," and what Iran said? We're not going to Islamabad. Donald Trump said, "Stay your ass here."
That is not what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Rightly doomer, that is crazy. Anyways, start the next topic.
It's your turn now. I already went first. You can go first for this one.
Okay, so let me know when you set the alarm. And also make sure to work on your self-control skills, because I'm not wasting my time again.
Listen, you right, I do, but it's very hard. So when we're talking about something so real and someone is just like saying the most
friend,
like,
here's the thing, right?
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying far more than you could imagine, right? Because I've had people who have actually died from this. So if you think that for 1 second it doesn't drive me insane to listen to people like,
IDF. I mean,
yeah. I know you
IDF,
don't give a fuck. I know you don't give a fuck, but here's the thing, right? Do you think that it's not hard for me to listen to your simping terrorist kiss the ass of the people who have massacred innocent people? Do you think that it was easy for me to sit here while you laughed over an 11-year-old little girl being murdered by the IRG?
I laughed because you're a joke. You're a joke. That's
not easy for me, but I have this cool thing.
I don't give a fuck, guys.
Yeah, cool. I have this cool thing called self-control. If you don't have it, that's just not my problem. You probably shouldn't have agreed to a debate if you cannot control yourself.
I thought, listen, people told me he was gonna actually be good.
Start the timer. Start the timer.
It starts in 3.
Wait. For the people who might be joining late, let's just reestablish the topic. The new topic that we're moving on to was October 7th Israel's fault?
Yes, it was. Sorry.
Okay, you could start the timer. You're not sorry. You're never sorry for anything. We know you're kind. The leftist ideology.
She said I'm not sorry. Bet. She know I'm not a sorry ass nigga. She already know I'm not sorry. You right. All right. It starts in
Never
3,
sorry for anything.
2, 1, go.
I think we need to establish, first of all, what you mean when you try to claim that October 7th was Israel's fault, because there's a lot of misinformation surrounding the day, which is aided by terrorist propaganda. But what we know to be a fact is that Hamas was established on the destruction of Israel and the Jewish people as a whole, right? If you read Hamas's founding documents, which they openly state that they stand by their new leadership, they have it in Article 7 that they want to unalive all Jews as well as infidels. That includes anybody who does not believe in their extremist values and their political ideology, that is Islam, right? So we already know that they have the mentality that they want to go in and destroy Israel and unalive Jews and unalive infidels. So this idea that Israel is somehow at fault, well, that's just textbook victim blaming. We could look at the statements from Hamas leadership, such as Fatih Hamad, who claimed that he was going to be cleansing the land of the filth of the Jews. Once again, we have textbook motive right there. We know that they specifically attacked innocent civilian areas as well as IDF bases, right? They went in and did atrocious things such as kidnapping 9-month-old babies like Kafir Bibas, shooting 10-month-old babies such as Mila Cohen point blank range in the head, kidnapping children such as Yagil Yaakov, who they then proceeded to parade around the streets of Gaza. And please keep in mind that 4,000 civilians from Gaza also broke in alongside Hamas in order to orchestrate this. Now that we know that they have a clear objective, in which is destroying the Jewish people as a whole, not just destroying Israel, not just fighting back against military or against government officials, but the complete and utter destruction of all Israeli people, we know that you cannot blame Israel without, once again, victim blaming. Were there specific security failures? Sure, but there are security failures every day in every country. That doesn't somehow make it the fault of people that they were killed.
Oh, you're done? You had 1 minute and 6 seconds left. That's fine. It's my turn. Okay. Starting now.
Notice how I'm gonna control myself.
That's great. I control myself too, but my time started, so you're doing a bad job. Okay, first we need to understand that as my opponent mentioned, she mentioned that there was a few security problems that happened. They weren't small. Well, we need to understand that October 7th happened because Israel did a terrible job with their intelligence personnel. What we need to understand is that there's a thing called the Jericho Wall. The Jericho Wall is a 40-page document that actually talked about how October 7th was going to happen. At one point, they said that the Jericho Wall was so precise that you can actually see how October 7th happened. And what did Israel did? They didn't focus on it. They said that it was less likely to happen, so they let it go by. In fact, at one point, they saw Hamas actually doing some midnight workouts, some midnight things, and one of the IDF soldiers reported it. And you know what they said? They're just working out. Sooner or later, what happened? They were attacked. In fact, the Israeli intelligence came out and said that they could have prevented this, and they said that they could have even they could possibly made it not worse or even prevented it. They even came out and said that this is their fault. We also have to understand is that when we talk about a country has every right to protect its rights. If you have a right and a country is violating that right, you have every right to protect that right. What we need to understand is since the conception of Israel, since the conception of the Jewish state, Israel has attacked the Palestinians' self-determination. Self-determination has always been on the table since the beginning, and the Israelis has taken that. And this is why October 7th happened. In fact, this is the same reason why the Palestinian War happened, why the first Intifada happened, why the second Intifada happened, why the Six-Day War happened. We're seeing Israel constantly increasing. This is why in Lebanon, we're seeing Israeli taking about 20% of Lebanon. And I have 1 minute. There's numerous things. We also need to understand is that Israel has constantly attacked Palestine in numerous occasions. When the UN agreed on letting Israel become a thing, they were only now 9,000. First of all, they took 55% of Palestinian land. It was about 55%, and then later it was about 20,000 miles of land, and this was off of taking Palestinian people's land. Now people are going to be like, well, why did the Palestinian people attack? Again, we have to understand that this is Palestinian people fighting for their self-determination. When a country has a right and their right is being attacked, they have every right to attack to get their sovereignty. And this is what we've seen when we look at the 07 blockade. I got 16 seconds. The 07 blockade, it took away Palestinians' right to get the nourishments they need. The blockade stopped their energy. It's created energy crisis. It messed up their schools. Fuck, that's my time. You lucky.
I am lucky because it saves my brain cells from listening to that nonsense.
Yeah, I could do 3 minutes though. I can do 3 minutes though. You ready?
You already did 3 minutes. I have a question for you.
All right, go ahead.
How does shooting 10-month-old babies in the head give Palestinians self-determination?
When did that happen?
October 7th. I just told you her name. Maybe if you were listening to my opening statement, you would have known that. She was a 10-month-old baby who was shot at point-blank range in the kibbutzim, right? Her name's Mila Cohen. You could fact-check it if you'd like.
No, I believe that. I remember. So what I first would say, October 7th was a tragedy. I'm not going to sit here and debate that October 7th wasn't a tragedy. It was a tragedy. But the whole point of October 7th was this was a preventable thing that Israel failed to do. They had multiple documents showing how October 7th was going to happen. And instead of focusing on that, they decided to focus on other things and said that this was never going to happen. And it did. So Israel failed dramatically. In fact, Israel has even came out and said that this is their worst Israeli intelligence blunder that they ever had since the conception of Israel in 1948.
Sure. So first of all, I think you saying October 7th was a tragedy while also trying to justify it in your opening statement just goes to show that you don't really have a clear and concise position here. Moving on to that, though, Israel's obviously going to have to address what's the most pressing matter at the time. If you look at the terror attacks that were mainly happening in Israel prior to October 7th, most of them were happening in Judea and Samaria, right? From groups like the Lion's Den and the Jenin Brigade. So obviously the IDF is going to have to pay more attention to those areas when we're seeing a huge increase in violence against typically Israeli civilians over there. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and try to deny that things couldn't have gone better on the Israeli end of things. That's why there are many Israeli military officials who did take accountability and did step down as a result of it. But what you're doing is literally the what was she wearing argument. This should have never have happened because the Palestinians should have never been, well, frankly, barbarians. Israel is not a perfect country. Mistakes do happen, but we know that they were trying to force their resources where they needed to be. And at the time, it was Judea and Samaria.
Yeah, so all the times that IDF soldiers came and announced certain things from happening and they just shrug it off. There was multiple things that accounted for, and there's multiple iterations of the Jericho wall. It wasn't like, and mind you, it's 40 pages, meaning there's numerous things that they could have done, and they instead of focus on it. And can we both agree that an intelligence committee's job is to not only the intelligence committee's job is not only to identify a threat, but it's also to analyze the threat and also neutralize the threat. They failed, which is why you say multiple people went down. And we need to understand this was a severe security issue. This was America, and this is why we had that preemptive attack in Iran, right? So if we knew this information, then we have every right to try to stop this, and they didn't. We go slow, my bad. And then we're also not going to the part where you're not going against the fact that Israel went against Iran, not even Iran's, the Palestine's self-determination.
So Palestinians don't have self-determination. Like we were talking about earlier, the Palestinians are a made-up people on the predication of the erasure of the Jewish people.
But Israel was no longer. That makes no sense, though. No, bullshit. Because that means so you're telling me that America. So what about America? America came on here.
Explain it to you when I'm done speaking. Like I said, I don't answer questions. Ask them all of my sense. Yeah, I know. Anyway, so you did lose the argument, right? Because you changed the goalpost. The question that was being debated here is, was October 7th Israel's fault? Well, now you're saying that it's a tragedy, despite the fact that you were also simultaneously trying to justify it. I think you need to understand that there is intelligence that is constantly coming in to America, to Israel, to Europe, to all of these nations, right? Not every security instance that comes in is a credible threat. What happened on October 7th is honestly quite insane.
It's not credible.
And I'm not done. Anyways, this idea that that these people would be able to paraglide in and that they'd be able to open the security gates in over 60 different places and 4,000 civilians would be able to help. It's absolutely ludicrous. So just because you know something is being planned doesn't necessarily mean that that's workable information, because what was Israel supposed to do? Would you have supported, let me ask you this, would you have supported Israel doing a preemptive strike against Gaza if they saw Hamas working out and got information on these plans? Would you have supported
There's
them?
numerous ways of neutralizing intelligence, and doing a preemptive strike is one way. So you saying that as if that's the only way of doing it, I can say no.
So then what would you have liked Israel to do?
What? So unfortunately, I'm not part of the Israeli army, and I'm not an intelligence, a military intelligence expert. So I'm not going to sit here and strategize a plan to you. But we both can agree that Israel fucked up, and it's their fault why October 7th happened.
No,
That's why you're asking me that question. You're trying to find a way because you know that Israel fucked up. You knew Israel had this information, and you know Israel didn't do nothing about it. You sitting here talking about, oh, just because they had the information, they didn't do nothing. It happened though. I'm confused. If you knew information that was gonna happen, you was not gonna stop it. If I went to tell you and I said, yo, they're going to, you remember that baby you told me that was unalived? If I told you and I said, yo, that baby was gonna be unalived because in that document they said it was gonna take hostages. They said it was gonna kill people. So if I told you that baby was gonna be unalived, are you going to try to stop it knowing that information? Or are you going to be like, oh, no, that's not possible?
Okay. So, again, just because you get information doesn't necessarily make it, number one, credible.
That's the Intelligence Committee's job. What are you talking about? That's their job. If you're getting intelligence, if you're getting information, you got to look into it. Sorry, you're just saying some crazy, not intelligence.
You have to weed out what's actually happening, what you think could actually be feasible, and you have to, Israel has a finite amount of resources. Like I already explained to you, the amount of terrorism coming out of Judea and Samaria was the most pressing threat against Israel at the time. So obviously they're going to have to allocate more of their resources to preventing the terrorism over there. Also, by the way, the Jericho document never mentioned 10-7, so I really don't know what you're talking about. There were certain things.
What?
Not done talking.
I couldn't hear what you said. So I'm trying to, what you said?
The Jericho document didn't mention 10-7. There are certain things that did happen on October 7th.
They did. They didn't mention the dates, but they did.
I'm not
Don't cap. They did. They didn't mention the date, but they did.
Again, this idea of Palestinians wanting to take hostages and wanting to murder Israelis, that's nothing new. That's nothing specific to October 7th. That's what they've been trying to do and unfortunately successful in doing.
They had a precise, they literally said that the Jericho wall was precise of October 7th. You even said, oh, how they believe that people were going to glide. Right. Because that was in the Jericho wall. They knew that was going to happen. So you're sitting here talking about, oh, they do this all the time, so they didn't even know. No, this was precise.
No.
Yes.
Stop interrupting.
Yes.
Stop interrupting me. It's seriously
I'm sorry, stop capping. I'm sorry. You're lying about a group of people and you want me to sit here, like, to be honest, then be this hype for your Israeli niggas. I'm because you know why? Because you know I'm not lying. I'm saying everything facts. You can't be like, oh, he's lying, I gotta stop. No, you'd be like, fuck, he's right. So the fuck, if you're lying about people,
right. Nothing you've said is right. Anyways, literally nothing you've said, right? So again, we've already established. So you don't want Israel to do a preemptive strike to thwart the threat of Hamas. You don't want Israel to respond once they are attacked on October 7th, and you want to sit there and
I never said that. First of all, no, time out. You want me to do a military plan? I'll tell you. If I was in Netanyahu's place.
Out. You've been doing nothing but talking. It's my turn to speak, and then you could try to rebuttal it the best of your ability.
That's my bad. I don't need a lot of energy.
Anyways, the only group whose fault this is Palestine, right? Is Hamas, is the Gazan civilians who actively aided in this. The orchestrators of this attack are at fault. If you want to sit here and try to say that there are things that could have happened to try to do a better job at preventing it, sure. But they are the reason that it happened. They are the ones who went in and did this. That's like saying, well, you know, it's your fault that you got raped because how many drinks did you have? And you know that this could have happened and you didn't watch your drinks. That, yeah, it is. It is exactly the same thing. Wait,
what is Israel and which in that example? Which one is Israel and which one is Gaza? In that example.
Stop interrupting. Because you're trying to say there are things Israel could have done to prevent it, right? There are things a girl could do to prevent her chances of getting raped, right?
The girl knew she was going to get raped. If
Israel
she had
didn't
information,
know that
she
they were
knew.
going to get attacked.
You don't think she was going to try to find a way to stop that?
Israel didn't know.
Yes,
that
they
were
did.
going to get attacked. No, they didn't.
They didn't know when, but they knew.
They did not know. Again, just because somebody says they're going to do something to you doesn't mean that they're going to have the actual capabilities to do it, or doesn't make it necessarily.
So why did people step down? So why did people step down? If this document had nothing to do with October 7th, so why did people step down, and why did the Israeli intelligence came out and said this was a blunder on their fault, that they could have prevented this? Why would they say that if you're sitting here and telling me that the document had nothing to do with 10/7?
If a girl knows that there's a chance that she's going to get raped if she goes out and she decides to still go out, does that make it her fault?
What do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. If a girl knows she's gonna get raped, I doubt she's gonna go to a facility that's gonna rape her. Right? She's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any answer. You answer that question. If you knew that, what would you do? Because I'm not a girl. If you knew that, what would you do?
Right. So that's not what I said. I think that it's very important to listen. If she knew that there was,
what would you do?
If she knew that there was a chance. Right? Because Israel didn't know for sure that this is going to happen. Right?
What do you mean? They had multiple things that went to them and let them know. Literally a few days before the event, literally an IDF official, their job is to literally watch the Gaza Strip and relay information. And the information they relayed was, hey, Hamas is doing a late night workout that looks like the same document that said how they would do it. In fact, you know what they said in the document? They said something about like, oh, entering through the gates and prevailing. And apparently that's what Hamas has been saying the days before October 7th. All these things was happening in front of Israel. You know what they said? Oh, our fortification is strong. They said, oh, and guess what happened? They got fucked. And the reason why, which goes to my second argument, is because Palestine is fighting for their right of self-determination. Because that was violated, they have every right to fight for their right.
First of all, you keep going back and forth with your opinion on 10/7. It's very strange that you can't keep consistent on it because originally I'm not done talking.
It's a tragedy, but Palestine had to do what they had to do.
No, they didn't have to do what they had to do, and this had no effect on their self-determination. If anything, I think that it just proved further, I'm still talking, I think that it just proved further exactly why they can't have a state, because they are barbarians, and they do not hold civilizations.
Because they're occupied. They're not barbarians, they're under occupation.
They are barbarians, and if you want to talk about that, wait a second.
Okay, watch this. I have a question for you.
Stop interrupting me. No, not watch this. Stop interrupting me.
Stop interrupting you.
Stop interrupting me. Anyways, and if you want to try to say they're not barbarians, tell that to all the little girls, because right now they're having a
Israelis are barbarians.
Gaza, I'm not done talking. Gaza is having a crisis of child pregnancies because the Hamas members are going out and raping their own children. So, if they're barbarians, they're just suppressed. That's not even relevant. But anyways,
what are you talking about? We're talking about Israel doing these things. And it's like, oh, Israel's doing those things, but they're doing these things too. Like it's great. No one's sitting here saying this is great. What I'm saying is that what you said, this
Simple
is the
black theory. If you cannot stop interrupting me, there's no conversation to be had.
Stop being trash.
Sweetheart, you're the only one that's trash. You can't even keep consistent on your own thing. Okay. Anyway,
so
as I was saying, right, Israel getting constant influx of security information does not mean they know something's going to happen. Do you know how many times Israel constantly gets information coming in of attacks that are
and they just let it go? Yeah, and they let it go. And they let it go. Dumbasses. They're dumb. Sorry, Daniel's a dumb motherfucker, by the way. Let him know I know it. Let him know I say that. When you see him, say Simple Black Theory, say, you're a dumb motherfucker, and I hope the cancer comes out stronger.
Okay. And I hope you get medicated. Anyway, as I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted again, because you have no self-control, because this is a joke to you, right? This isn't people's lives. This is a joke to you, and you're
a joke. No, you're the joke. You're the joke. That's what you're not understanding. You're what I'm laughing at.
This is like
you know I'm laughing. You know there's a joke. You're just missing what the joke is. Okay, and it's you.
Perfect. Let me finish speaking.
Go
Anyway,
ahead, joke.
Israel, America, countries over in Europe, right? We're constantly getting an influx of security information of certain attacks that are being planned, certain attacks that certain countries want to do or certain terrorist groups want to do. You have to be able to weed through that information because there's quite literally no way that you're going to be able to address all of it. Israel did believe that they had enough security measures at the time, right? Whether it be their electronic fence signals, their security cameras, their automatic rifles on the border, right? They thought that they had enough that was going to be able to prevent an attack like that. Them being wrong on that and a miscalculation, stop it. Them being
people killed.
Them
being wrong got people killed.
No, Hamas killing people got people killed. The Palestinian civilians breaking in alongside Hamas got people killed. The people who went out and killed people are the ones who got
argument. You've been focused on this argument that you cannot win. It already said it. Let's go to the next one. The fact that Palestine didn't have their self-determination. That's the one I want to talk about. You can stay with the Jericho wall. They fucked up. You admitted it. They fucked up.
Speaking. I don't care what you want to talk about. You don't get to randomly interrupt me.
We got 4 minutes.
And then change the conversation.
We have 4 minutes.
We'd have a lot more time if you had stopped interrupting me and I had to babysit you every 5 seconds. You have no self-control.
I'm teaching you.
You, bitch! You!
Oh my God. Hey, listen, I have no problem with the woman calling me a bitch. Like, honestly, what you ladies go through, honestly, I don't give a fuck. You call me a bitch. I'll never call you that.
I don't give a shit what you do or don't call me. All you did this entire time was interrupt, and every single time I had to waste my time trying to redirect you to what was actually going on. We'd have a lot more time.
You're redirecting me to bullshit. You're redirecting me to dumb shit. You're redirecting me to lying shit. I'm literally, this is what I do for a living. I debunk. When you talk, when you say a lot of dumb shit,
so you're
I automatically have to debunk. I watch your videos and I do this while you say something, I'll be like, that's wrong, and that's how I debunk you. I watch your videos and be like, oh shit, she's wrong, and I have to debunk you. So when you talk and you say these things, I'm initially gonna be like, that's a lie, and I have to say something because that's what I've been doing.
You can wait the same way I have, right?
No, because you're on some lying shit.
It's not lying. You just have this really weird thing that you do where you think that it is acceptable to place the blame onto victims, and I think that's a really scary mindset to be in.
Oh, so wait, first I'm the victim, now I'm placing the blame on victims. Whoa, that makes no. So at one point I can be the victim. When it's something for me, I'm the victim when I'm talking about something. But when it's Israel, Israel is the victim. That's not victimizing. That's like you say here. At one point you said that I'm playing victim because when I mentioned being black and stuff like that and how that affects in the world, you said I'm playing victim. But now we're talking about Israel. Now Israel's the victim. No, they're not playing victim. They're playing victim. They're playing victim.
Israel was attacked on October 7th.
They're playing victim. It's their fault. It's Israel's fault that October 7th happened.
Right, and the girl who gets
they could have stopped it
because she shouldn't have gone out that night, right?
Is that wrong? Did they not have a document that explained what the fuck was going on? Did not have a document that said that drones was gonna come to distract them, and that happened on October 7th. Right?
That happened on October.
That did happen, though. That did happen. Listen, you don't even know your history, gang.
But it wasn't.
Look, let's get back to my second. Listen, I want to go to my second argument. I've been perfecting this one so much. I want to see how you dance on this one because this one was fun to make. You ready? I want to hear your argument.
Yeah, are you gonna let me speak?
Fine. Listen, I'm gonna give you the chance. I hate when you speak. But I'll let you do
that's kind of how a debate works.
I forgot we were debating. Originally, I thought this as you lying. I forgot you were just constantly lying.
There's something seriously not right with you. Like, I'm not even saying this in a joke.
This world, yes. You know what's not right with me? This fucking world. That's what's not right with me. It's you sitting here and saying the most garbage shit, but ain't able to back it up. First of all, there's no way. You should have hit Netanyahu up and told him, yo, I'm debating simple black theory. I need help. And I honestly think there's too many Israelis that would help you out. You didn't ask for no help for this debate. You asked for no help. You thought you could actually do this? F.
I think I've been doing just fine.
F. Well, guess what? I grade you F.
Okay. I really didn't ask for your opinion.
I know you didn't have to. You're still getting enough. It was terrible. You lied like shit.
Intelligent to say?
What you said?
Do you have anything intelligent to say?
Yes. The reason why Hamas attacked Israel is because they're fighting for their self-determination.
Right. When was the modern state of Palestine established?
The modern state of Palestine was established with the UN establishing 2 states.
No, because the Arabs at the time turned that down.
What are you talking about? It still happened. When they established 2 states, Israel was established. And you know how I know that that was established? It's because they established it the day before Great Britain left. They were taking all the lands that they can when Great Britain was there because Great Britain was helping. And then it became a sovereign nation when Great Britain was about to leave to make sure that it stayed. You can't sit here and say that it fell if it's still there. Israel became a sovereign nation after UN said, yo, there's going to be two states, and Israel became a state. You can't say it failed. Just because, and then mind you, the Arab League lost that war. They lost the war when they went against Israel, so it didn't fail. Fuck you mean?
Exactly what I said, right? Just because Israel still remained established doesn't mean that they were established because of the UN. The UN deal had 2 parts to it, and one part fell through because the Arabs at the time stated that they weren't going to live in peace with the Jews. That's ultimately why they rejected.
That's bullshit. The Arabs never even made the deal. They literally boycotted it. What are you talking about? They was never with it.
I know they didn't make the deal, which is why the deal is null and void when it comes to
this deal was still voted in. That makes no sense. They never wanted the deal. And guess what? It was still up for voting. So you can't sit here and say, oh, they never wanted the deal, so the deal fell out.
Are you going to stop
interrupting if UN still voted for it?
Right. So you asked me a question. I'm trying to help.
And you answered it wrong.
You answered it wrong.
Yes, there's a right. If you didn't know this, debates are like this, there's one right answer. You know that, right? There's no nuance to this. It's not abortion. It's not abortion. There's no nuance to this shit. If you're saying that the UN, if you're saying that the UN resolution 181, you know, you're talking to a nigga that knows this shit. If you're talking about the UN resolution 181 didn't go through, that makes no fucking sense. First of all, it wasn't a sovereign law. So it didn't even have to be like passed for them to do it. It was them being recognized, so they're able to do it. And that's what happened. They didn't need the UN to pass it. It wasn't a law.
So you
it was them recognizing the states, the Jewish states in Palestine. And once they got that, that's when they created Israel. Israel was created the day before Great Britain left. Why would they do that? If they didn't need the UN vote, they didn't need Great Britain to stay or leave.
Right. So again, you just admitted that this deal didn't get passed.
Which did get passed.
It did not.
What are you talking about?
It did not get passed. You're trying to conflate 2 different things. Recognizing Israel's existence is not the same thing as establishing it as
UN doesn't have that power. The UN does not have the power
you could have it.
to make fucking law. Bro, I know you're not bringing a second nigga here to help you.
You're just over.
Holy fuck, yeah! She had to bring a second person to help her! And the nigga Wi-Fi don't even work!
Yeah.
Nah, bro, listen, I'm debating this nigga June. Bro. If you can't have this debate one-on-one, get the fuck out of here.
I can't have a debate with somebody who can.
I'm not debating this Zionist today. I'm debating his ass in June. So wait,
we're debating
if
in
he
June?
if he wants this work, he's gonna have to wait in line like you did.
Wait, we're debating in June?
I mean, I had to wait in line like you did.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I was ready to actually, if you want to talk, and we could bring up messages too. I was ready to debate you 2 weeks ago, and you stated that you needed more time to prepare.
Yes. You see how I'm cooking you? I do my research, and I have a job. This is a job. I do more than do live. I actually have to make my videos. I actually go out there and do active work. I actually go volunteer. I do a whole bunch of shit. So sorry that I'm not like like you. I could stay home and be like, I can go on live anytime. I can't do that. I have to schedule it. I have to schedule you guys. So Nick, I have to battle you in June because yes, I have to prepare for the debate because I learned so much shit and I have other shit to do. If you don't know, I actually do shit. I know.
I'm an engineer and I go to school full time and I'm a father. I do.
I don't give a fuck if you go to school. I'm telling you what I fucking do. I go out there and work for the people, gang.
I got you. Why are you screaming?
Two Zionists, nigga. This is my shit. I don't need two Zionists against one real nigga.
It's fine, dude. I'm not here to debate you. I was just invited up and I accidentally clicked yes.
I don't give a fuck. Get the fuck out.
Why are you screaming?
She put you up. You're here to debate me.
Okay,
Why would she bring you up?
Simple black
because she was losing.
Anyways, the British left the day after.
By a person who gets his ass handed to him on a daily. You're just as bad as her. Wait to do.
Why are you so performative? It's not a big deal.
I promise you, bro. I promise you get the same treatment. You're just as ass.
So why did you say? Okay, I got you. So why did you say you needed an entire month to prepare for me? Why did you say you needed an entire month to prepare for me? We have the comments.
You see how I cooked her. You see how all the information I have.
I just got here, but that's not. If I'm so bad, why don't you just debate me tonight? What do you mean?
I have to research so I know my information.
I thought you said I'm bad already. Why would you need to research? You're debunking yourself right now. Why would you need to research if I'm bad?
Gang, you know who you talking to? I actually do something. I actually go out there and work. I don't sit here on live. I don't sit here and make videos.
We all work.
My nigga, I be outside. Niggas know my name in the streets.
You literally
niggas know my name in the streets.
Why are you so performative? That's weird. Nobody knows you in the streets.
Gang.
I'm just wondering. I got you. Okay, stop screaming.
If you think
I got you.
Black Theory.
Ask about my.
You literally said that this is your full-time job.
Ask about my credentials, gang. I'm performative. I be in the fucking streets.
I'm an engineer.
I'm a real ass nigga. I don't give a fuck.
I'm not here to scream with you.
You're an engineer that don't know shit about Israel. You're an engineer that's a Zionist. I don't give a fuck if you're an engineer.
Why are you crashing out?
You're a sorry-ass engineer. You need to engineer her how to learn how to take information correctly. You need to understand that.
Why are you just gish galloping?
Bro,
All
right, bro.
All right. Anyways,
I'm gonna end this, bro. If you can't take him down,
he's running away. The second I come up, he runs away. I just want to know why I need a month.
Take him down.
If I'm bad, like you said,